everybody. It is the Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. This will be a day of joy. I proclaim this to be a day of joy.
I would say no.
I really don't know what to say, but we'll say it anyway. This situation has gotten bleaker and bleaker. And if you watched the game last night, first of all, I had faith in them. I had faith that they were actually going to go down there in a revenge situation, playing a mediocre team, missing some players in a back-to-back, and they couldn't pull it off last night. But the bigger story is the big center and what is going on with him, because he actually talked to the press. Now, nobody has any recording of what he said, but let me see if I can get the quotes out here. Hold on one second. Hold on. Let me get the quotes here. I got them right here, and I wanted to read them for everybody. Did I take the quotes? Did I not take the quotes? You got it, Bill. You got it? You got the quotes?
I have them, unfortunately.
All right. Now, Bill, I want you to read the quotes here with what Joel Embiid said. Just read the quote, because it's the ultimate woe is me.
So this is after they fall to 2-12 to the JV team for the Memphis Grizzlies. Joel Embiid, quote, "Whoever leaked that is a real piece of bleep."
All right, let's take that right there. He's right. He's right about that. Whoever leaked that is a piece of bleep. But it doesn't mean it's not the truth. All right, carry on.
Quote, "We talked about a lot of things. I don't want to get into detail, but that whole thing, that part of it took probably 40 seconds. But it's Joel Embiid, so things will always get blown out of proportion. It's whatever, though. I'll take it. I'm the reason for everything, so I guess I'll take the blame for everything."
Yeah, but the point is, he doesn't take it. And so we get to the next quote, which is this. "It's kind of annoying having to deal with the same things over and over and over. All I'm trying to do is focus on basketball and be the best I can be for my family on and off the court. But for some reason, it just feels like negativity keeps following me, which I don't understand why." Well, the fact that he doesn't understand why speaks so many volumes that I can't even start. like you don't understand why? You came into a season telling the world that it wasn't important for you to ply your trade, even though you just signed a $1 zillion extension, and hence the Sixers are off to a 2-12 start where they look like crap and are now in danger of not making the playoffs, and you don't understand why. Forget about you pushing the reporter, or you doing this and doing that, and you getting called out by your own teammates. You don't understand why, which makes you oblivious to this whole situation. I have had it with him trying to blame others. "Oh, yeah, it's always me. It's always this. It always gets blown out of proportion. I'm the reason for everything, so I guess I'll take the blame for everything." It is so ridiculously passive-aggressive that it makes me nauseous. A true superstar does not act like, Ray, hit it. Listen, folks, I know you have your own opinions on this. This happens to be my opinion. I'm not trying to convince you either way. But when I read these quotes, I go, are you frickin' kidding me? But for some reason, it just feels like negativity keeps following me, which I don't understand why. I'm the reason for everything, so I'll guess to take the blame for everything. Do you realize that you're the franchise front man? And that you're going to look at people are going to look at you as the man that this team has to circle around to be a contender? Are you absolutely forgetting all the years of your career where you stepped up to the foul line and 20,000 people yelled, "MVP, MVP"? Yeah, you have been treated terribly in this city. Terribly. It is amazing how you've been picked on in this city. Now, don't get me wrong. You are a tremendous player. You have had golden moments in this league. But now this team is reeling, and you came into this season not giving a crap about the shape of this team or the direction that you were supposed to go in. Now, last night he played a little bit, okay? He had a good game last night. He had a good game from the mid-range. I didn't see him overpower anybody down low, which he apparently doesn't want to do anymore. But now we've got a team that has fallen apart. And I do not believe, I'm watching them last night, and I go, every team that they play, and it doesn't matter, plays harder than the 76ers. Every team plays harder than them on a night-to-night basis. And I've got to watch the dreck of these old players coming off the bench, guys that you don't even you don't even know from one day to the next whether the coach is going to play them. Last night, Kelly Oubre didn't get in till later. The night before, your Busele was benched. I don't know what the hell Nick Nurse is doing or what he's trying to find with this team. And on top of that, this general manager thought it would be a good idea to sign a 34-year-old player who was going to do what? Get hurt every 4 weeks? Every 3 weeks? Daryl Morey apparently does not know that when you're 34, you don't get healthier. They are a flat mess. Now, maybe you don't see that. I don't know. Maybe fans go, they're going to be okay. That you're still conned into thinking that magically this team is going to come together and be a viable playoff team. I read some social media last night where they're getting hammered by 20 to the Memphis Grizzlies on a back-to-back, and I'm reading they're going to be fine in the playoffs. Oh, my God. Well, all right. Bill Colarulo's here. Ray Dunn's here. I exhausted myself in the first 8 minutes of this show. Bill?
Yeah, how you feeling, Mike? You upset today? Just a little bit? Just a little bit? Look, Joel actually played well last night. He did show up on the court. 35 points in 35 minutes. He went to the free throw line 14 times. He has 11 rebounds. I was feeling okay about Joel individually. The team as a whole other story. But then postgame, and I'm frustrated that there's not audio of these quotes, that all we have is the reporting of it, because I do think you need to read into the tone sometimes of what's being said. Because he does say, that part about the tardiness probably only happened once or twice when I wasn't playing. So I need to be better. I need to be perfect. I need to be on point, which I'm going to do. Now, I don't understand if he's trying to be sarcastic there, that I need to be perfect. But either way, the city of Philadelphia sometimes gets a bad rap for being a tough place to play. As a professional athlete, we've heard that over and over again, that Philadelphia is a tough place to play. And it's not a tough place to play. It's a tough place to play when you do things like this, Joel. It's a tough place to play when you try to deflect, when you try to take the woe is me attitude, when you fail to accept responsibility for your actions and you try to limit what your responsibility has been. Oh, I was only late once or twice. Oh, negativity just seems to follow me around. I don't understand. That's when it becomes hard, because all we ask for in this city, all we ask for, are professional athletes who are going to give it their all and leave it all out on the court or the field, whatever it may be, the ice hockey rink. And the players who have understood that are beloved here. But when you do stuff like this, Joel, yes, negativity is going to follow you around because you are creating that negativity. You're the one that chose to play in the Olympics, which a lot of us supported, me included. But then when you go to the Olympics and you show up to camp out of shape, and you're not ready to play, and you go on record saying you're probably never going to play back-to-backs again. And then when you do finally get into a game, you're completely out of shape and you're rusty. Then we hear Tyrese Maxey having to call you out for being late for everything. You're creating this drama around you. So you can't then say, why does negativity follow me around? And I don't want to hear that it's because Philadelphia is a tough place to play and we're blowing things out of proportion and this is what the media does. No, this was created by Joel Embiid and the Sixers organization, and we have every right to be upset because all we ask for is for you to leave it all on the court and be ready to play and show up on time. It's not that difficult. So it is frustrating, Mike, because this season is spiraling, and I can't imagine that this goes any other way other than bad. And it's going to get even worse. And Mike, not to rub salt in the wound here, I'm shocked you bet on the Sixers last
I
night.
did, and don't confuse me losing a bet with my anger, because it goes deeper than that. As I'm watching this game, because I'm seeing a franchise disintegrate at the seams, and I know there are people that don't believe that, and that's fine. You want to talk about that, and you want to give me the other side. I'll listen to it. But when this guy, I hate passive aggressiveness. There's nothing worse than being passive aggressive, because that's cowardly. So all I'm trying to do is focus on basketball and be the best I can be. Are you kidding me? Do you think I'm a freaking idiot for you to say something like that? And I'm going to buy that when you weren't ready to start a season, when you peed away the 3 games that you did play. You're telling me that all I'm trying to do is focus on basketball and be the best you can be? You know what the best you can be would have been? Had you actually been ready to start the season. That would have been the best you could be, because the team would have picked up on that. Instead, what did they pick up on? They picked on, it's not important for us to be any good right now. Meanwhile, you start off 2-12, and you got to face that kind of an uphill climb. It's just absurd. Now, you want to, like, he doesn't care what I say, but if you did, you want to mention me at a press conference, I'll show up, and you can shove me, and we'll get it over with. 610-632-0975 is how you climb in. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this.
Now.
Well, not too rough on people out there. Nah, I don't think I am. Listen, I give you my total emotional spin on this without getting overly emotional. I think that my emotions are in line with what the situation is. So if you want to climb in, it's 610-632-0975. I just find it really interesting that on one hand, Joel Embiid likes to proclaim himself as the most dominant player in the league. And on the other hand, you don't want the responsibility of that? Like, what sense does that make? You are the marquee player on this team and one of the marquee players of this league. People are going to pay attention to what you do? And you're going to, like, woe is me and cry about, oh, it's always me? When you're not ready to start the season, and because you're not ready to start the season, this team is running around like the Keystone Cops and bumper cars at the Wildwood Boardwalk. They don't know what to do. They're undirected. The coach doesn't know how to coach them. Let's point to the beginning of this season where the tone was set for this. And you had a big responsibility for that tone. And you're going to try now to make us feel bad about coming down on you? And here, let me add this because I'm reading this the Athletic story. Embiid and Maxey have a close friendship on and off the floor. And indeed, following Wednesday night's loss in Memphis, that was last night, they spent a good chunk of time talking to each other in the locker room while eating a pile of chicken wings. Now, just hearing that, Bill Colarulo is ready to quaff a protein shake and get in a workout. They're eating chicken wings at 10 o'clock at night. This is a guy we're talking about. He's not in shape. He's got to change his diet. Let's have a pile of chicken wings at 10 o'clock at night. Am I crazy?
You can't make this stuff up,
This is unreal.
You can't make it up. Listen, it's frustrating because we're going to now hyper-focus on everything that's being done because they're 2-12 and because Embiid's been out of shape and because everything that's surrounding this team and all the negativities. Whereas, look, if this was a normal time and they were eating chicken wings in the locker room, I don't love it, but I'm sure it happens after games.
It happens after games.
I'm sure.
Where you're eating a pile of chicken wings. Like there's no healthy entrees that you can eat.
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying I'm sure it happens. I just wish, as ugly as everything else is, and we could have talked a lot today about the Sixers and what Daryl Morey did, Nick Nurse, all that. But the reason that we're focused on the Joel Embiid stuff is because he just doesn't get it. And it's amazing to me that a guy who's not a young guy anymore, Joel Embiid is what, 30? How old is he? 30? He's going to be 31 in March? And he still doesn't understand what is going on surrounding him and the 76ers. Like the woe is me attitude that he's had, I'm just shocked that he still has it. And he actually showed up last night and performed. I was okay with Joel on the court. But then after, all he had to say was he could have showed, I'm upset that the meeting was leaked. That should be internal. But we all need to be better, and it starts with me. Done. We all need to be better. It starts with me. Done. We would have had no problem.
But it's old now. How many times has he said that? He
Don't give us something.
Constantly. And then he goes back to the same passive-aggressive BS. For some reason, he says, it just feels like negativity keeps following me, which I don't understand. Are you nuts? Do you have any self-awareness at all? I don't understand.
He doesn't.
Bill, I got to be honest with you. Listen, I got to tell these people, I can only do 3 hours of this show today because I have to go to court today. So you got to get me in these first 3 hours. The people that disagree with my stand here, get it in now. You know.
And there are a few on our YouTube chat defending Joel.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I'm trying to find it.
We got a text.
Yeah,
in
get to the
defense of
text
Joel.
of defense,
All right,
and I'll find the
go
quote.
ahead.
Dan from Woodbury on Embiid's quote, the NBA and fans across the board have placed blame on Embiid for years. Even his MVP season, they said he doesn't deserve it. He's been called a flopper, dangerous, and not talented by millions online and national media for years. He's not had a single year where he hasn't been questioned or faced scrutiny outside of Philadelphia, regardless of our record or position. It's on him for his actions on the court in this summer, but I understand where he's coming from on this quote.
Well, I'm glad you do. Because in Philadelphia, he's been universally accepted, okay? He's been chanted MVP, MVP. I don't care what national pundits say. I really don't care. The bottom line is they look at this guy who proclaims himself to be the Titan of Titans, and the fact of the matter is people see that he doesn't like to engage that much going down low. Now, there may be a reason for that. Maybe it's strategic, and maybe it's health related. But he spends a lot of time on the perimeter. And people look at that and they go, "Wow, you're claiming to be this big colossus, and yet it doesn't seem like you want to engage." But that's whatever people want to criticize him for over the year. I'm talking about the here and the now, okay? The here and the now, because I've been a Joel Embiid fan. I'm looking at a team that is falling apart. They're 2-12, and one of the reasons, and the main reason that they've fallen apart, is because this guy was cavalier about starting this year, and he didn't feel the responsibility to get himself ready to play from day one. Now, am I lying? The people that want to support Embiid, am I telling a lie there? Does that not resonate with you, that he wasn't ready to start this season? When I warned everybody, this cavalier attitude that you all have about it's good to preserve them because all we do is need them for the playoffs. Now look at the state this team is in. And now they have a 34-year-old guy who supposedly is a star, who's no longer a star, who's going to continue to be hurt, which derails this big three concept that the general manager misguidedly put together. And I'm supposed to feel happy about this?
Yeah, the whole Paul George situation is frustrating. I loved the signing in the offseason. I did. I thought Paul George was the best player available. He fit the need perfectly. You wanted a wing. That was a two-way player that could create offensively. I liked the move for Paul George, and I'm not ready. I know it's frustrating. It looks like he's going to miss time again. I'm not ready to say that the Paul George signing was a bad signing. I'm not. I'm not there yet. But
Bill, he's 34 years old.
I get that.
He's not the same player. He doesn't even look like he wants to be here. Before he got hurt in that game, he was disengaged completely. He looks like he made, in his head, I made a big mistake. I long for L.A. Does he not look like that type of player? Do you?
He does a little bit, but now this brings us back to Joel and the tone that was set to start the season. Because if you're Paul George and you get recruited by Joel Embiid, come to Philadelphia, you have Daryl Morey, Dr. J, Josh Harris in your house selling you on the idea of, not only are we going to pay you a lot of money, but we think we're going to build a true contender here in Philadelphia. And then you get here, and this is how the season starts, where Joel comes into camp out of shape, shows up to late for everything, as Tyrese Maxey told us. You have all types of I have no idea what Nick Nurse is doing with regard to the lineups he's putting out there. You start the season 2-12. I'm sure Paul George is questioning, saying, what the hell am I doing here? But I'm not ready to say, because I don't know what other option there was, Mike. If you weren't going to blow things up and move on from Joel, which nobody thought was a good idea, maybe there are some out there still would have been a bad idea. If you weren't going to do that, you had to give Joel people around him, and Paul George was the best option. All the other guys people wanted didn't get moved. There were no other trades that happened. There were no other free agents available. Paul George was the best possible move. But everything starts with Joel. And when he says, why is it always about me? Well, because you're the leader. You're the MVP of this basketball team. And when you come out of shape and you come in with the attitude the season doesn't care, it trickles through.
Hey, you kids out there, that to be a lesson to you last night where the food choice at 10:30 p.m. It's good. Hey, quaff a pile of chicken wings before you go to bed, kids. I think it's a really good health regimen to follow. Right, Bill? Right, Mr. Protein Shake?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
610-632-0975. Back after this.
Yeah, and then other people in the chat generally are saying that there's more than just Embiid being the problem, and we have to look at how this team was structured.
I get all that.
Yeah.
I get all that. I am addressing what he said last night. It's kind of annoying having to deal with the same things over and over. All I'm trying to do is focus on basketball and be the best I can be. No, you're not. You are not focused on basketball and being the best you can be. If you were, you would have been ready to play the season. Oh, do I have three heads here?
No.
Well, seriously, like, how could I be so far off base about this when people are buying into his crap again?
It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. And I tried. You know this. I tried when he was not in shape to start the season to find the devil's advocate in the situation. So, well, maybe he wasn't 100% healthy. But I'm finding that hard to believe because you're not hearing that. We're not hearing after that meeting, hey, big fella, we know your knee wasn't fully healthy and that's why you were out of shape. No. We're hearing, Joel, you need to be better. So I think if there was actually an injury to the knee that delayed his ramp up, we would have heard about it. And we haven't heard about it. So I can't make excuses for Joel today. And I've been a defender of Joel Embiid. I do agree with what you said, Mike. He's a dominant player. He's one of the best players we've ever seen put on a Sixers uniform. But he just doesn't get it. And he's been in this city long enough that he should understand this fan base. You can't take the woe is me attitude when you've created the negativity. You can't ask the question, why does negativity follow me, when you're creating the negativity.
But for some reason, it just feels like negative. For some reason, it just feels like negativity keeps following me, which I don't understand why. But for some reason, which I don't understand why. Are you nuts? Like, seriously, like, you weren't ready to start a season. It comes out that your habits are still bad, whether they be working out or eating. And on top of that, you get involved with an altercation with a columnist who kind of rips you. And then a teammate says you're being late. But for some reason, which I don't understand. All right, I'm going to be quiet for the rest of the show.
We're going to get the fans' reaction.
I'm here till for 12:51.
12:51.
I'm here till 12:51 today. So I'm going to be quiet for the rest of the show because I seem to be perturbing people in the chat like Joaquin.
Yeah, not everybody in the chat agrees.
Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. It's where the category Joel Embiid is in right now, and I wasn't aware of that until Joaquin told me. So let's start off with a phone call and go with T-Love and Delco. T-Love, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yeah, hey, Mike. How are you this morning, man? You having a good day?
I'm having a tremendous day. Tremendous.
All right. Listen. I defend this guy. All the time. When people want to give him the hook, I say, no, this is a great guy. He's our number one player. I defend this guy all the time. And I've done so much, man. And he throws it all away just to make me look ridiculous. And a man in my position can afford to be made look ridiculous.
All right, Waltz. Go ahead. Keep going, Tila.
Yeah, and tell him, by the way, Mike, I ain't no newspaper reporter. So you weren't trying this rough stuff. I heard that story.
All right, you're doing Waltz. I get it. You're doing Waltz from Godfather 1. You went a little too long with it, though.
Too long.
Yeah. So you got to get out of movie mode and give me your real feelings.
I'm frustrated, man. I got season tickets, man. I invested in this team a long time, man. You know, the only thing I have from this team is my fandom. Mm-hmm. And they try to take that from me.
I get it. Here's the most frustrating part. You can't do anything about it. There's no solution. You can't excise Joel Embiid from this team. You got to live with it because it's the best case scenario on whether you can do something. So, in other words, with this situation, Sixer fans are being held hostage, and some, like Joaquin, don't even know they're being held hostage. You're being held hostage by this situation, which is why it's so unnerving for me because the fan base is getting beat up here. That game last night was painful to watch until they made this rally in the fourth quarter that made it interesting.
It was painful to watch, but again, Joel played well. It's the best Joel has looked this season. 35 minutes, 35 points. After going a whole game without getting to the free throw line once, he gets there 14 times, he makes all 14. I was okay with Joel on the court last night, but it's what was said after that I have the problem with. And then you talk about on the court, we could talk about what Morey's done, what Nick Nurse has done, but the reason we're focused on Joel is because he is right. When he says, I'm the reason for everything, I think he's taken that as a woe is me. But he's not wrong. When you are the main star, when you are the MVP of your basketball team, and everything is being built around you, Joel, yes, it starts with you. You are the reason for everything. And the whole tone of this season was started with you. And when you come into camp out of shape, and when you're being late for team activities, and when you tell the world you're not playing in back-to-backs, it sets a tone for the entire team that trickles throughout the entire roster, and that's why they're in the position that they're in. Yes, he's not all to blame. I see in the YouTube chat, it's not all about Joel. You're correct in the chat. It's not all about Joel, but it starts with Joel. If we won a championship, Joel would get a majority of the credit. So when they're 2-12 and the season starts this way with him having the attitude that he has, then he should take a majority of the blame.
Now, these little comments he's made have made people sympathetic to him, which is like, let's go to the text board. Right, help me out here with some text.
Yeah, I got Uncle Frank's take on the matter here. I'm with Mikey Miss here. The big guy is passive-aggressive. He has absolutely no self-awareness, really brings the blame on himself. Dummy me for thinking that if he played in the Olympics around winners, he would emulate them. But instead of that, we got Ungats.
Ungats or Ugats?
Yeah, how did he spell that?
Yeah, at the end in there.
It's Ugats. All right, so give me another one.
Mike from Phoenixville. Bill, come on. It was a move out of total desperation. This going to the Paul George comment. Daryl Morey has turned the Sixers into the Harden Rockets. I think it's over with Joel, guys.
Well, when you say it was a move out of desperation, and I've seen people in the chat saying the same thing, they should have got younger, they should have got younger. If you're trying to win a championship with Joel Embiid, and I think we all would agree, before this season started, it looked like his window of being this dominant player was probably about 3 more years. It may be even shorter than that now. I don't know. But he has about a 3-year window. How do you just surround him with younger players and try to win a championship? Didn't you have to take a shot? I know Paul George is 34, but didn't you have to take a shot with already established stars because of Embiid's window being about 3 seasons?
I don't know. You could always look at it like, well, that was really a shot in the dark. You had no guarantee on what Paul George was going to be. His best days are over. They're just like Harden, you're trying to be misguided to think he's the 24-year-old Harden that you put out there. Is this the 24-year-old Paul George you're putting out there? Yeah, the notion of adding the name, yeah, that was appealing. But what were you adding? You were adding a shot in the dark.
Well, I know it was a contract year, but Paul George was coming off a season where he played over 70 games.
Yeah, and before that, he averaged 40.
He did. So was it a contract year, or was it, hey,
well, I don't know.
Can stay
As
healthy?
the general manager, you're supposed to figure that out. How many players get healthier at age 34?
Look, I don't love the team that Morey put together, obviously, now. With hindsight, they're 2-12. But when they signed Paul George and they signed Caleb Martin, I don't think everyone looked at that and said, what horrible moves. What else was there? Like, I got people in the chat saying they should have went after Zach LaVine. Well, first of all, LaVine didn't get moved, okay? I don't love Zach
Bill,
LaVine.
listen, you're not a general manager with all the data, okay? There are plenty of things that teams can do. Yeah, you don't have to sign a 34-year-old used-to-be star and pretend that nothing bad is going to happen, that it's all going to go peachy. That's the easy thing to do. If I'm a general manager, I go, yeah, well, I'm signing a name. Everybody will get blown away by the name, including Bill Colarulo. It's the name reality. But really, what's the player reality?
Well, yeah, the injuries now make it look bad.
Well, that's got to be factored in.
Yeah, it makes it look bad, and that was what people's concerns were.
But also, they had to have Oubre back. They had to have Lowry back. They had to sign Eric Gordon. They had to sign Reggie Jackson. What are you doing to me? What are you doing? You're throwing wet clay and then sticking on a wall. Where's the continuity with that?
You think Morey's...
You had to bring back Drummond. You had to do all these things. And everybody, Drummond, when he was here, was a good backup for Embiid. That was a great signing. Oh, okay. Every one of these guys is old.
I understand. I understand that they're old. I just don't know. And to your point, you're right. I don't have the data that Daryl Morey has. But at the time, they did look like good moves. Bringing Andre Drummond back felt like a really good move. When you watched the Knicks playoff series last year, when Joel went to the bench, you had nothing. B-ball Paul wasn't the answer. I love that they brought Drummond back.
Yeah, I didn't. And you know why? Because in this NBA, you got to play pick and roll. You got to guard pick and roll. He can't guard pick and roll. So it's just a name that you brought in. Do a P. Oh, yeah, it sounds like a good name. Paul George sounds like a good name. Reggie Jackson, wow, sounds like a good name. Eric Gordon sounds like a good name. Kyle Lowry sounds like a good name. There's no continuity to what they were doing. Let's go to Mike in South Philly. Mike, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mike.
Hey, I just want to say you guys have a great show.
Hey, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, and I also want to chime in on Embiid. Prima facie, Mike. Prima facie, Mike. The fact is they're 2-12, and we have spaghetti and noodles knees on the floor. You see? So let's get the McCain show started.
You mean prima facie? prima facie?
Sorry, I appreciated the effort, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, all right.
I butchered that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Nah, it was good knowledge by you, though. It was a good knowledge by you on that.
Yeah, so I think McCain need to get more time. I think he's like the hardest working player on.
How are you going to play McCain and Maxey together? No, seriously.
Yeah.
Let's really get to the crux of what this team is about and how they. Yeah, McCain looks good. He scores 20 points, right? Now, can you play him with Maxey? Because you got to play Maxey.
Yeah. The money says you have to do it. You're right.
Hey, Maxey's a budding star in the league because you got to play him. So now you got 2'6" guards, 2'6" guards that can't guard Bill.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right.
Okay, so let's be the McCain thing is nice. I look at Dalton Connect, a wing shooter for the Lakers, threw in 37 the other night. Now, I'm not saying I'm disappointed with McCain, but like you got to have parts that fit. They looked at McCain like a guy who could play 15 minutes as a backup one. Well, now he's emerged as a guy who could score 20. So now you got to play him together with Maxey. Does that help your team?
No, not at all. Yeah, so it all falls on Embiid. You're right, 100% right, for not being in shape and eating like 1,000 chicken wings and don't want to get on the court.
Don't worry, that's a good diet, man. 10:30 at night. Chicken wings.
Well, technically they're in Tennessee, so they're an hour behind. So it was only 9:30.
I mean, listen, they're in Memphis. At least bring in some ribs. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we keep talking about.
Goes right over Bill's head.
I know you're saying.
Good ribs.
When he's got a thought, forget about it. He can't play with another thought.
You a big rib? Are you a big rib guy? I'll engage. You a big rib guy? You like ribs?
In Memphis, I did. I got some ribs in Memphis. The Rendezvous. John Chaney took me down an alley near the Peabody Hotel. You gotta try these dry ribs, dry rub. Whew. Chaney was right. Anyway, Ray, you have the worst text of all in front of you?
Yes.
Go ahead.
This is the saddest text I've ever read. Sixers are missing Tobias in the locker room.
Oh, stop. But hold on, I'm not even going to engage in that. Mike.
What was that again?
That they're missing Tobias.
Sixers are missing Tobias in the locker room.
Now, we keep saying that McCain and Maxey together probably won't work. And I keep hearing the comparison, though, to what the Cavs have. Because Garland and Mitchell aren't big guards either. So, I mean...
Mitchell's 6'4".
He's 6'3".
Okay.
He's 6'3".
He's a big body.
6'3", 215.
Yeah.
Garland is 6'1", 192.
Yeah, well, that didn't work last year. So the coaches figured out a way. to make it work because they've got other bigs that are really helping them.
Also, maybe, just maybe, the Cavs starting out undefeated is a great story. We've seen a lot of teams go on some great runs. We're going to crown the Cavs as the way to build after 15 games.
And plus Garland was 3 for 21.
Yeah, wait, listen.
2 nights ago.
I'm not saying that it will work because I've been on record saying I don't think it does either. But you are seeing it somewhat successful in Cleveland right now. So I don't know if we should just rule it out. I get it. There are going to be liabilities on the defensive side. But what are our options right now? Because it's not Kyle Lowry. It's not Reggie Jackson.
I don't know.
not Eric
Donovan
Gordon.
Mitchell is a very versatile player. He can score inside and out. Those guys, both McCain and Maxey are kind of they're just perimeter dudes. Now sometimes they'll get to the basket. I get it, but
Yeah.
It also could be the 76ers' best option and still not a great option.
Correct. Yeah, it may be their best option, but
Maxey
not,
and McCain, in terms of scoring, might be your whole thing because right now defensively, it doesn't look like they can guard anyone. Their rotations last night made me want to puke. How many open threes? I get it. It's the scout. That team shot 30% from three. They're NBA players. How many open times they're going to reverse and someone's going to be wide open? They looked a step slow. Again.
I didn't understand Nurse's lineups last night, though, either. Like, Maxey played 5.5 minutes in the first quarter, and then he doesn't see the floor again until the second half. And then you didn't have any of the big three on the court.
They probably looked at. He didn't look like he wanted to play, and that probably influenced them. He was really ginger on that leg. He didn't really want to, do anything. And I think they kind of looked at that and said, what's the point? 610-632-0975. Glad people commenting on my attire today. I didn't realize I left the sport coat on. I'm going to take the sport coat off.
No, leave it on, man. You look good.
Yeah, but I don't need to look good.
But it evens out me being in sweats.
Yeah, what is it with the sweatpants today? I noticed that.
The sales staff sent out something. They're doing some big thing. You said you could dress up in sweats. The sales staff says it. I'm dressed up in sweats.
I said to Ray when I walked in, I said, I didn't know that we had another student shadowing from Germantown Academy. Then I realized it was just him. He shaved his
look
face.
At you. Yeah, the young.
Doesn't he look young when he shaves?
Young Ray Dunn is. I told him he's got to change. We'll talk about this in a second. Ray's got to change the whole style. Yeah, we'll talk about that after this. Mike Missanelli Show. It's brought to you by Grungo Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. Pray for peace, prepare for trial, grungolaw.com. I love topics like this because a lot of people can engage. You have opinions on one side or the other. Is Joel Embiid being treated unfairly? A lot of people feel that. I don't happen to feel that way. I believe that this is a guy who blew off his responsibility to the team by not being ready. Therefore, he is now under the microscope with a lot of things he does. So when he says passive-aggressively, it's whatever, though. I'll take it. I'm the reason for everything, so I guess I'll take the blame for everything. It's like Eeyore. All right?
From little Woody the Pooh reference.
And here's right. All I'm trying to do is focus on basketball. But for some reason, it just feels like negativity keeps following me, which I don't understand. And I would say, as Olivia from The Sopranos said, "Oh, poor you." I gave my life to my children on a silver platter.
Tony's mom.
This is my way of trying to not be so crazy. You see?
Yeah.
So I got to do stuff like Livia.
Yeah. It's not working, though. You're still upset. Now, like I said earlier in the show, I wish we had video and audio of these quotes because, to be fair, Tony Jones, who wrote the article that we keep referencing for The Athletic, starts the article with, Joel Embiid wasn't visibly angry. His voice didn't drip with disappointment or some over-the-top emotion. His tone was very matter-of-fact when addressing the media. Now, I don't know what that really means because I read these quotes that he's being quoted, and it sounds like he's being passive-aggressive. That's what I get, passive-aggressive from Joel, and that's why I said he still doesn't get it. You've been in this city especially long enough to know this type of thing doesn't work. But you're right, Mike. There are people out there still defending it.
Well, listen, I've learned to live with as well as me. It's gone on for a really long time in this city, and it doesn't really amount to a hill of beans when he's playing as an MVP candidate. And so, this play drama that he gets into only comes into effect for me when you see the disintegration of a team early in the season that wasn't supposed to be a disintegration. And part of the reason why it's a disintegration is because he wasn't ready. So I think my criticism is extremely fair, as though if he wants to come back with, negativity keeps following me, which I don't understand why, I'm glad to point it out to him. I'll go down there and point it out to him in person if the Sixers call me to do that.
You think?
Really, because when I said, which I don't understand, I go, here, let me explain it to you. Let's have a cup of coffee and listen to me for 10 minutes, and I'll explain why.
What about a plate of wings? Since they were eating wings last night.
Popeyes. Mike knows a guy.
A plate of wings, a plate of greasy wings at 10:30 for a guy that we complain about is out of shape, and that doesn't have an effect on people?
Yeah, not great.
You kidding me, Bill?
Yeah, not great.
Deep fried wings, unless they were baked, which I doubt. They're deep fried wings
in Memphis,
dripping in grease at 10:30.
In Memphis, they're deep fried in lard, probably. Now, I do want to say, because you did say something earlier about Joel getting upset with Marcus Hayes. Out of everything that's happened so far this season, that's the one thing I didn't have a problem with was Joel being upset with Marcus Hayes' article. To me, that wasn't the woe is me. I thought Marcus Hayes crossed the line.
Okay.
Everything
I
else,
agree with
though,
you. And
yeah.
I said Marcus had to take a shove. I sanctioned the shove.
Yeah. Everything else, though, Joel is responsible for creating this. And Marcus Hayes, although crossed the line, and I thought was a completely unacceptable article to reference his son and his deceased brother, the point of it was, again, about how Joel showed up this season. And that's what we're upset about, is why show up this way?
Yeah, he was suggested that he wasn't being the best he could be when he has created a narrative to be the best he could be. That was the point of that story.
But he also said this offseason that it's no longer about personal awards. This is all about winning a championship. That's the whole goal now for Joel Embiid's career, this season, everything. But his actions don't reflect the words.
He says that all the time. So, whatever he says to me, I go, okay, yeah, sure. He says stuff like this all the time. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Shaq was right. Yeah, I got to be back. I'm just tying circumstance to circumstance here. The circumstance is that the Sixers are 2-12, and they look sick. They look like a sick franchise, frankly. All right, let's go to Demetrius in West Philly. Demetrius, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Demetrius?
Hey, we showing Embiid way too much hate, man. The guy does nothing but got better each year. I don't understand, like him, I don't understand what all the hate is about. If anything, the guy that dropped 8 points last night, and if they're calling him out, why is he not getting no hate?
He's coming back from a hamstring injury where he obviously didn't feel comfortable playing.
8 points?
Well, I just got done telling you. He was coming off a hamstring and he wasn't engaged in the game, and so they saw that and they kept him off the bench. They kept him on the bench.
Then
this isn't a Maxey thing, is it? With you?
No.
Okay.
I like Max.
All right, so let me explain.
The performance that they're calling him up.
Okay, so Embiid's getting this hate. Is there any reason you think he should not get the hate?
Yes.
What is it?
Because he got better for every season.
Forget about what he got better for every season. Let's look at what happened this season, Demetrius. Now, He was not ready to play basketball. And even when he played for the first 3 games, he blew it off. Now, you're not going to react to that?
No, 3 games.
No. Forget 3 games. He wasn't ready to play the season, Demetrius. On a team that had 8 new players that was supposed to bond and have a direction. He blew it off completely. He didn't feel the responsibility to get himself in enough shape to play.
Isn't that a major concern as well?
That's not a major concern to you? That's not a major concern to you?
Before you let me go, can I make one more point?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So we give Embiid so much hate, but guys like Steph Curry get love because he's a likable guy.
I don't care about Steph Curry. That's in the Golden State.
Yeah,
okay?
I don't either.
This is the same. Demetrius, is this not the same guy that when he goes to the foul line, 20,000 people go MVP?
Absolutely.
Okay, then where's the hate? I'm tired of hearing he gets the hate. He's getting scrutiny right now because of what this season has begun as, which is dreck. And part of the dreck he's responsible for. You can love Joel Embiid all you want. I like him. I don't have anything personal against him. I look at the team suffering because he set a bad tone. And he doesn't seem to realize it.
I'm with you, Mike, on this one. I'm with you. And
he's getting too much hate.
Yeah, you can't.
What are you talking about? He's getting too much hate. When he makes statements like, for some reason, it just feels negativity keeps following me, which I don't understand why. That doesn't hit you in a certain way? Like as being ridiculous?
Yeah, what is that? Who sings I'm the Problem, It's Me? Is that Taylor Swift?
That would be Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I'm the Problem, It's Me. But listen, you want to defend Embiid. Maybe comparing him to Steph Curry's not the way to go?
Steph Curry doesn't get hell. I carry Steph Curry. Steph Curry's it's not my concern. What he gets. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Embiid might go to the Hall of Fame. I'm not denying. I'm talking about the here and the now. They're 2-12.
Well, and this is the reason that I've come to your side on this, and I completely agree with you on it. When they held the meeting after the game, they were 2-11. Joel Embiid had only played in 3 of those games. Yet, Joel Embiid was referenced. Whether it was the majority of the meeting, it was important enough that Joel's attitude and lack of commitment was questioned and talked about by Tyrese Maxey. And he had only played in 3.
And he lollygagged his way through
of those
3
13
games.
games.
Lollygagged.
To be fair, you think the Eric Gordon, you might be washed conversation is really going to sell as a story?
No,
that part of the meeting isn't exactly that juicy.
You're correct. But what I'm saying is if this wasn't because of Joel's attitude, the purpose of the meeting would not have referenced Joel. It would have been more along the lines of, I know big fella's still trying to get back, but we need to do X, Y, and Z. That's not what was said. What was said was, big fella, you know I love you. It starts with you.
In other words, big fella has impacted this terrible start for one reason or another. The Mike Missanelli Show. We're back after this.
Ricky Vitalik.
Too heavy of conversations with people, so let's lighten it up a little bit. Let's talk about Ray.
Sweatpants Ray today.
Ray shaved the beard today. No, I agree with the shaving. See, Ray needs to change it up a little bit, in my opinion. He needs to go scruff,
Yeah, scruff.
mod haircut. Ray's kind of got the dad haircut. You know, he's got the part, you know, there's swish to the one side. You know, he needs to get the...
Yeah, where do you
he
get your
needs-
haircut, Ray?
Same guy I've gone to forever.
Like a barber shop?
Yeah.
You need to get the fade look. You need to get the number 3 clipper or number 2 clipper.
There'll be no fade on my head.
Hear me out. You get the clippers on the side, and you get the kind of like get it layered up top. You get the tousled look, and then you got the scruff going. Now that's a Ray look. That's a look. Right?
I could get behind it.
I stayed out of corporate America.
Now,
I'm good.
I will say, you shaved last night, and you used a razor.
Well, I went electric first to get that layer. I mean, this beard I think had been going since before we started the show.
Yeah. So
I mean, I got it trimmed up a little bit a couple of times, but that beard has been with
did
me
you
for a
go
couple months
shaving
now.
cream and like all the way down to the skin last night?
Oh, you know, it's all gone. Yeah, it's all.
Yeah, I think you need to keep some scruff.
scruff. You need to scruff it, which
Yeah.
means you need to get the clippers that you put on the number
Right.
and scruff
Which I
that
thought
up.
about doing, and then it seemed like a lot of effort.
But the hair's got to change. I think we
They
got,
put up a poll on our YouTube.
Yeah,
chat.
the hair's got to change. I think the YouTube chat and the text board will agree.
I can
That the
assure
hair-
you the
the-
hair's not going to change.
No, the hair's got to change.
It's not going to change.
Yeah, you got.
There will be no change of the hair.
It's an old look.
Have you ever had a different
It's-
hairstyle, or is that the same one you've always had
I've
since
rocked
like
this one
kindergarten?
for-
What do you think, Bill?
I think he could probably change it. Look,
Yeah,
let
change.
me
You got to
say
change
this
it up.
first.
You got to get the clippers on the side. You got a little high top.
Nah.
Yeah, you got to
there'll
do
be
it
no
right.
high top.
Listen, we're experienced guys here. We're telling you what the best look could be for you as a 24-year-old kid. You can't be walking around like you're teaching Sunday school.
And I
You know
will
what I'm
say,
saying?
I'm very jealous of that head of hair that you have. But you probably could change it up, just get a different look going.
As someone that's experienced being me in my own skin, I'm doing perfectly fine with the hair
you're
I
not.
got.
But you're not.
I am.
But so see from the outside, like we're looking at it, we're trying to improve the look. We're trying to get rid of the Sunday school look.
And that's fine. You could try and do that. It's worked perfectly
See,
fine for
he's
me.
stubborn.
He is.
He's not amenable to the change, Bill. What are you going to do with a kid? He's 24, not amenable to the change. He's going to be a dad soon. He's got a dad look.
What?
Well, you got the dad.
Wait. I got an idea. We should talk to sales and put together some sort of like where it's
Makeover.
sponsored makeover
I'm
where
not-
they
I'm
change
not-
your
Makeover.
hair. They do the whole thing.
Well, Ray, you got to be.
I told them I would get married sight unseen for a deal with the jeweler. I'm not having them deal with my hair.
What is it so special about your hair right now?
I just
What,
fine
you-
with the
you-
look. You want me going gel, getting a fade, look like I work on the
I'm telling you,
30th floor of some big building.
Little bit of a fade with a little
No.
tassel up top.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
I could, and then some scruff.
No, thank you.
Maybe like the
The scruff
Brad,
I'm going to bring back, obviously.
the Brad Pitt Fury look, where you shave the sides and then do the slick back.
No,
top.
see, again, there's going to be no shaving of the sides here.
the little neck
Keep it
tap.
nice, even.
I gotta be honest with you. You look like you're getting your hair cut by some old 79-year-old Italian guy named Pete.
So
All right.
Yeah, seriously. It's like a barbershop. Some old Italian guy named Pete's cutting your hair.
And Pete has done a wonderful job
Pete's
for
not
me.
doing a wonderful job. We're telling you.
Well, John Brenner on YouTube said, Ray's an old soul. Not many could pull off his look. It works for him. He's completely comfortable. Let him be.
I do perfectly fine for myself.
Trying to help out, brother.
I appreciate you trying to help out.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
think that if the ladies would contribute here, they would say, yeah. I think Mike's right. The fade. You get the 3 clipper on the side, the 2 clipper. You go down a little bit, and then you just get a
My appeal is
layered
not
look
my
up
looks.
top. Huh?
I said my appeal is not my looks.
Wait, your barber, how old is he?
50s, probably.
And you've been going to him for a long time.
Yeah.
Is it like a trendy barber shop or like an old school barber shop?
Oh, yeah. It's just,
You're getting your hair cut by the old guy from Seinfeld. I know it. I can
I'm
tell.
not.
Yeah.
Anthony's a wonderful dude.
Enzo.
Yeah,
Enzo's cutting your hair.
Somebody already beat you that. Jay Tidwell on YouTube said, Ray looks like Jerry Seinfeld after coming from that crabby old barber.
That's fine.
Ufa with the Edward's hands. That's the guy's cutting your hair. Let's go to Wall Street from West Street. What is this? A joke? Wall Street from West Street? What is that?
Who's on the
The
board
nom
back
de
there?
plume? I need
Is this a joke call?
Wall Street, what's up?
Mike, what's going on? Good morning.
How you doing, Wall?
Whoa, that's hilarious. Listen, some of these callers, they're really killing me. I could punch them in the bridge of their nose. How are they saying this is not Embiid's fault? Listen, I'm going to start from the bottom line. Your team resembles your star. You're not going to tell me that this year's team is worse than last year's team. Embiid came in out of shape, not willing to go, and it trickled down to the rest of the team, and it just infected the clubhouse like the plague. Listen, no one's more hurt than Kawhi Leonard. But here's the difference. When Kawhi Leonard gets on the floor, he's Kawhi Leonard. When we played Jimmy Butler the other night, he didn't play for 3 weeks. Came in and dropped a 30 ball. And the fact that Embiid played like that last night and put up a 30-piece shows that, dude, you could have came out and did that 2 nights ago. But you didn't, because you didn't have the fire in you. It took people getting in your butt and getting on top of you, and you're like, okay, let me go out here and try.
Yeah, it's Wall Street. Listen, you're absolutely right, because, before the actual meeting, that guys were going, when he wasn't ready to start the season, and then they didn't know when he was going to play, and then finally he plays, but he didn't play. Guys are going, man, this dude. The disappointment. They're going behind the scenes. They're going, man, this dude. They're not saying it to his face, but the disappointment on the team. It's like, we're trying to get a team together, man. This dude, and that's what leads. That's what leads to what happened in the locker room the other day.
And this sentiment isn't anything new. The difference is we've heard tidbits and bits of this over the years, but he was playing great and we were winning. See, now that we're not winning, now some of the cracks are starting to show in the foundation. And if your leader isn't taking accountability, how do you expect the rest of the team to do so?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I look at the body language of Paul George. Does it look like he wants to be here?
No.
It doesn't look like he wants to be here at all. He's thinking. I'm watching him last night. This was before. Thanks for the call, Wall Street. I'm looking at him before he got hurt, before the knee extension, the hyperextension. I'm looking at his body language, and he's going, I wish I was in L.A. You could just read it on his face. I wish I was in L.A.
Well, the only reason he's not is because the Sixers were willing to give him 4 years, and L.A. only wanted to give him 3.
Yeah, I thought this thing was going to be different. You could just read his mind. Despite the fact he's 44.
34.
Excuse me.
Might as well be 44.
That was a Freudian slip. 610-632-0975 is how you climb into the show. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this. as I swallow a chunk of pretzel.
Oh, yeah, somebody brought those soft pretzels in.
Very nice.
Vito.
You know what? It's a great snack. Was it Vito? Nice job, Vito.
Thanks, Vito.
So last night, I'm watching the game. By the way, how you feeling about your boy Caleb Martin?
Oh, man. I'm taking L after L after L with my Sixers take since the season started because I was okay with load management, and I really like the Caleb Martin signing. Neither one of them looking too good right now.
Listen, he tries. I mean, like I said, he's a system player. And they have him because they want to. He's not a bad defender. He shoots like some Olympic diver.
It's ugly, man.
He's got like the half jackknife, the partial one and 1/2 twist when he shoots it.
I'm still, though, going to stand on my opinion that we have to see what Caleb Martin is if we ever get him on the court with the big three. I know we had a little bit of it last night, but he's not supposed to be.
I mean,
he's a role player.
He is. But he had a little thing going with Desmond Bain last night. Desmond Bain had a big night. He tired out at the end. Desmond Bain, was he taken after Maxey in the draft? In that draft? He was a shooter out of TCU.
Yeah, he came out of TCU. He was drafted 30th in 2020.
Yeah. Okay, so he had a little thing going with Caleb Martin where he put a three in his face and then he gave him a shotgun. And Caleb didn't like that. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's what I liked about Caleb, though. He's got attitude. You know, he seems like he's a player that would have been a nice piece on this team, but he's a piece. He's not.
I agree with him, man. Don't do the shotgun. That's bad form, dude.
Wait.
If you want to go too small, you can't use the gun.
So the shotgun you have a problem with, Dan Campbell running up the score, no problem.
The shotgun is inciting gun violence. You can't do that.
You get fined for that, right? I know the NFL would have fined him. I don't know. Does the NBA fine for that? Probably.
I don't know. I don't know what they do.
NFL, you're not allowed to do any of that.
But also, what was Embiid doing at the foul line with the fallback thing? Did you see him where he shot a couple free throws? And he
Does that all the time.
Yeah, he's trying to get it to fall.
What is that?
He wants the ball to
It's
fall.
just dramatics. Oh, that might be off. And he's like, oh, no, no,
know what it is? All right. All right, 610-632-0975. We had a lot of activity in the 10 o'clock hour about this. And a lot of Embiid defenders, and that's fine. You know, you come with a point, and I'll come back at you. And, we're this notion that we're picking on him, it's okay. I think I can refute that a little bit, but we can have a convo on that. If that's the way you feel, that's the way you feel.
If I could defend Joel, I would love to, because I've always been a huge Joel Embiid fan. Always. I just don't see how he's getting picked on this season. We could talk maybe about other years and nationally, and maybe Shaq goes over the top in his criticism at times and rewrites history about himself, whatever. But this season, the way Joel Embiid showed up to camp and everything that's happened now to start the season, and now the meeting and that gets leaked, and the way he handled it last night talking about it, I was okay with him being angry that the leak happened. That's fine. You could say that. The leak shouldn't have occurred. But it's the way he deflects afterward. It's the...
Yeah, well, what does it mean when he says it's kind of annoying having to deal with the same things over and over and over? What does that mean exactly? What things that he's dealing with aren't appropriate to deal with? Like the fact that he was not ready to play, the fact that the team said, well, he's not quite light enough or in shape enough. What things are we talking about that he's dealing with over and over that aren't legitimate concerns?
I think what he's saying there isn't necessarily specific things, because he says, talking about that meeting, we talked about a lot of things. I don't want to get into detail, but that whole thing, that part of it, talking about being late, took probably 40 seconds. But it's Joel Embiid, so things will get blown out of proportion. So that's Joel Embiid saying that. So I think what he's saying is not necessarily specific things, but everything with me gets blown up. Everything with me.
Let me ask you this. Was it blown out of proportion when we were talking about these things with Iverson?
No.
Or was it legit since he was the star player? And people were unnerved that he was undoing that. Teammates, coaching staff, the whole bit. Just like the same thing here.
Yes. Now that comparison I get.
Right. It's the same thing, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Your teammates don't like it when you don't show the same dedication and you're supposed to be the man and you're shirking the responsibilities of being the man. And the team goes, well, then why should I do it? And not only that, but it's misery right now that we're losing because of this tone that's been created. So if the main guy isn't willing to accept the responsibility of it, what hope do the rest of them have?
That's a bad tone.
Let's go to Ish in Levittown. Going to defend Joel. Go ahead, Ish. Yo, Ish.
Yes, hello. How's everybody?
Yeah, good.
How's everybody
Good,
doing?
Ish.
You hear me?
How you doing? We got
Okay. Hi, Bill. Hi, crew. Okay, I gotta get Mike. I think you're being so unfair right now to Joel. It's crazy. You're blaming him for the loss, and it's called the team. Joel scored 30 points last night, and he's basically telling you guys that everything is on him. So we can't analyze or be clear.
Where is he saying that everything is on him? He's complaining that everything is on him. Where are you getting that everything's on him? He's not accepting any responsibility. He's doing it sarcastically.
He's complaining that everybody is on him. He just.
Well, now tell me why it's not deserved, Ish. Why isn't it deserved that people are complaining about how he's treated this season?
Mike, it's not Joel. It's the team. It's Daryl Morey. It's Daryl Morey building the old team around Joel. Maxi's hurt. Paul George is always hurt.
Okay, you're not wrong on that, but let's take it one at a time.
What is he doing?
Let's take it one at a time. This team had to be ready to play from the start of the season. Why wasn't it?
Why wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because the team wasn't healthy. Paul George.
Because your star player wasn't ready. Your star player created a climate of permissiveness that it wasn't important to be ready.
Okay, Mike, but Paul George is also a star. He wasn't ready.
Paul George was hurt. Paul George was hurt.
Embiid was hurt too.
He wasn't hurt. Where was he hurt? He wasn't in shape to play. He wasn't hurt.
They say they were ramping him up. I can only go by.
They're ramping him up because he wasn't in shape. For the 2 months after the Olympics, why wasn't he in better condition to start the season, Ish? How can you ignore that?
We don't know if he was in better condition.
Oh, my God. Ish, he wasn't in good enough condition. They said it. He wasn't light enough. He wasn't in shape enough. Why?
He played in the Olympics. He got better. He scored 30 points last night, and it's not just...
Ish, you're ignoring the point. I'm asking you about the start of the season, which created this climate. Why wasn't he ready? And you don't think that filters to the team when he's not ready?
Well, yeah, of course, but it also filters to the team that Paul George wasn't ready.
Paul George was hurt, Ish. Are we going around in circles here?
No. I'm saying Paul George was hurt, and Embiid wasn't ready.
Ish, so it's clear that you like Embiid, and you're not looking at this objectively.
We're giving them unfair criticism.
And you tell me why it was. I'm asking you a simple question. Why is this unfair when the star player wasn't ready to start the season?
It's unfair. If Embiid leaves, we're going to regret it.
You're changing. You see, you're changing the conversation. You don't answer my question. You said it was unfair. Why is it unfair to criticize him for not being ready to start the season?
It's unfair because we know Joel's history. That's why. We know his history. So why are we going to keep going back and question him? We know he's not in shape. We know he's always in shape.
And so you're saying that's right. You're saying that's perfectly fine.
I'm saying we're immune to it by now.
This conversation now got ridiculous-ish. We're immune to it. So you're absolving it, and that's your point. You're agreeing that he wasn't ready to start the season, but that doesn't mean anything to you because you're absolving it because he always is like that. What sense does that make? See, this is why I try to have a discussion. People are going to bring a good point. It gets me on nerve when you bring up a stupid point.
And Paul George was ready. He got hurt in the preseason. Now, that's a whole other argument. Should they have signed a 34-year-old that's prone to injury? But he was ready to start the season. Joel Embiid, we were told, didn't have a new injury and that he was simply ramping up, which signals to us that he just wasn't in shape to start the year. And we have not heard otherwise. So, I mean, Ish was trying to say, well, Joel was hurt. And I see people on the YouTube chat trying to defend Joel, saying it was the knee. But he played in the Olympics. What did he do after the Olympics? See, that's where it really comes down to. What did he do after the Olympics until the time camp started with the 76ers?
Wait, and listen, don't get me wrong. The Sixers are a tremendous fault here for kind of allowing him not to be ready. Like, they set a template that it doesn't matter that we play him now as long as we have him healthy for the playoffs. So he took that and ran with it. He just took it and ran with it. So ultimately, the Sixers are at fault. But they, in this day and age, you have to be permissive to your star, and you have to read the tea leaves on what your star is thinking. And they're reading the tea leaves like he doesn't want to start the season just yet. He's not ready. And so they will play along with it. And meanwhile, the byproduct of that, which I predicted, Bill.
Yes, you did.
Is what? 2-12.
You were correct on this. And I know yesterday I spent a lot of time focused on him being late for a lot of things. And you weren't as concerned about that more than the big picture. But it still bothers me because whether he was in shape, whether he was healthy, all of those things, you don't have to be on time. And I think that just trickles down to everyone, that Joel doesn't care, so we don't have to care. And this is the part that really bothered me a lot last night. When Joel was talking about that part of what was leaked, he says, that part of it probably happened once or twice when I wasn't playing. What are you talking about? Like,
So it doesn't, in other words, he's saying it didn't matter.
Yeah, like it's not that big of a deal. And then he says, well, things will get blown out of proportion. See, that's what bothers me. He still doesn't get it. I couldn't imagine being late.
He loves the woe is me. He's always loved the woe is me. This isn't new. I'm telling you, I've talked to people inside the Sixers organization over the last several years that said they roll their eyes sometimes. And man, he's really a diva, but we have to put up with it. Now, the lateness is just part of the permissive the tone that was set. You know, don't worry about it, Joel. You'll be good. You know, it's more important at the end of the season. So, guess what? Lateness is part of that. I can do anything I want now. It's like, you know, I don't have to be that responsible.
It's all part of it. And then the way this all started is he said the person who leaked it's a real piece of bleep. And we kind of agree it shouldn't get leaked. But we both also agreed that the biggest culprit, if we're putting odds on who probably leaked it or was permissive in it being leaked, probably was the team, right? We felt like maybe the team wanted to light a fire a little bit.
It's the important thing is that whoever leaked it is a piece of S, or is the important thing is the truth was leaked? Because the truth is what sets you free, Bill.
That's what I keep hearing.
So there you go. That's the part. It's not the leaker. It's whether the leak was the truth is the important thing.
Well, it wasn't true. It only happened once or twice, according to Joel.
Let's go to Tony in West Philly. Tony, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Tony.
Mikey, Miss, Bill, good morning, y'all.
What's up, Tone? How you doing?
I want to make 2 points, but I want to have a conversation like I'm talking to Joel Embiid personally.
Okay.
Joel Embiid, you are a loser. You have the nerve to claim that you are a Kobe Bryant fan? Let me tell you something, Joel Embiid. If you're going to be late at practice, you better have the skill set of Allen Iverson and Terrell Owens, because that's the difference. They late, yes. Allen Iverson didn't go to practice or didn't lay it out of practice, but he was the hardest working ball player on the floor. If you're going to sit there and take games off and get mad that we're coming at you about coming late, you better have AI's heart every night. You better give us 50. That's the only way we'll ever be acceptable in Philadelphia for you to have this permissive passes attitude about playing the game. We don't. If you were Jalen Hurts, if you were any other star in Philadelphia, we'd be roasting you. You're getting a pass, but we see you for who you are now. You're a passive loser. We are Sixers fans. We ain't Joel Embiid fans. You are a loser and a disgrace to Philadelphia. This is the city that birthed Kobe Bryant. Don't come to us with that BS you're trying to sell.
Well, I think it's a little harsh calling him a loser. I wouldn't call him a loser. He's not a loser. And he does have the skill set. So I'm not going to buy into that. He has the skill set, and he has shown the skill set, and he has performed at a very high level. I'm just talking about the here and the now. He doesn't have to be labeled a loser as much as he has to be labeled. Maybe you needed a little more personal responsibility to the team to get this season off to a better note. Because what's happening now is that you're treading water. And I have to laugh because I'm listening to the broadcast and the post-game show and all that thing. They're going, well, the East Conference is making it a little more comfortable for them because they're not achieving, the teams beyond Cleveland and Boston. Those teams are still in better shape than the Sixers are. So you can say what you want about the teams that are 6-5 or 5-6 or whatever. They're not 2-12.
Well, they're trying everything they can to shed some positivity on the post game, and even Kate and Allah.
Let's be honest. If they're 5-6 right now, we're talking about the Eagles.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, if we didn't have all this drama with the Sixers.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that would mean that Embiid probably showed up in better shape where he was playing. Maybe he's not 30 points per game, but he's 25 or something. Paul George probably isn't banged up. Maxey isn't banged up. Like, this has been a colossal failure the first 14 games of the season. This has been as bad. Every single fear you could have added up in the offseason of how this season could start is exactly how the season is started. There are 29 teams in better position right now in the NBA than the 76ers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at record-wise, there's 29 teams that are closer to the postseason than the 76ers are right now. Now, obviously, you wouldn't trade positions with, a lot of those teams would trade positions with you probably in terms of talent, but it's a disaster of a start. That's why conversation is what it is right now. They've been as bad as they possibly could be.
I was so watching them was so painful last night, and then obviously at a certain point they did rally. They came back and Embiid did make some shots, but I channel surfed. I never do that for a Sixer game. I was so upset at what I was watching and how poorly coached they are right now that I had to turn away. And I didn't even put another sports thing on. I put like Cops on.
You didn't watch the Flyers get dominated in the third last night?
I'm sorry, I didn't flip to the Flyers. I couldn't take it anymore. Watching that, I said, I can't watch sports right now. This game is upsetting me so much. They're so discombobulated that I had to watch Cops.
Now, we've been very focused on...
Officer, don't take him away. He's a good man. All right, so he punched me in the side of the head. He's a good man, officer.
Was that the episode last night?
They're all like that.
I want to ask you something, and we're spending a lot of time focused on Joel.
Yeah.
We've only scratched the surface of the head coach, Nick Nurse. At this point, when you're 2-12, and I know they haven't had their complement of the big three, injuries, all the drama, all the stuff going on. At what point is Nurse on the hot seat, though? At what point do they try to shake something up?
I think he's doing a terrible job with this team. A terrible job. He seems not to know what to do about any of these players. He doesn't have a rotation that he's solo. He doesn't believe in certain guys. From one game to the next, he benches guys. He's confused as well.
I watched his post-game presser last night. He looked so defeated as a man. Like, he even knows, I have no answers. And I get it, when you have all these injuries, what are the answers? But that's why he's paid a lot of money. I mean, I thought we were getting a better coach than what we've seen from Nick Nurse, even last year, even last season. When you had him beat out all that time, you couldn't figure out a way to survive with him off the court. And then in that postseason, when Embiid was on the bench, you had no answers, and now it spills into this season. It's just, there's a lot of problems. It's not just Joel. Daryl Morey should get heat for the team he assembled. Nick Nurse should get heat for the way he's utilizing the talent he was given. But it does start with your big star. That's why we're focused on Joel, because he still doesn't seem to get that he's supposed to be a leader of this team, and he sets the tone.
This is bad. This is very, very bad.
You know what's not bad, Ray? Apparently your look. Because the YouTube poll is at a 50-50 split.
Yeah, I can't believe it's 50-50. I just got a text from my buddy Ace. Now, my buddy Ace texts, and he says that my daughter, Barbara, has been a barber for 12 years. She'll give you a haircut on the house. 1701 Packer Avenue. It's called Branded Barber.
And I very much appreciate that. I'm not changing barbers for one conversation.
Yeah, you need a new look.
You know why he doesn't? I know what it is. I know what it is. It's because he gets a free lollipop with that haircut.
Yeah, you got to get rid of Enzo, brother. All right?
There is no shot.
Come on,
I
man.
appreciate
Right, give it
Ace.
up. Give
You're
it
a
up.
nice guy. Thanks for listening.
You're turning into one of those guys like on that insurance commercial. You're turning into your father. Come on.
If I turn to my father, I got no hair.
He's getting a lot of support. Ray is getting a lot of support in the YouTube
Come on,
chat.
try to modernize the kid.
They're saying how good he is, how cool he is.
He's great. He's a great kid. I'm just trying to give him a little scruff and a kind of a fade.
The scruff is going to come
It'll
back.
turn his whole life around.
I've been doing the scruff look for years.
Realize
This isn't advice.
the networks that'll come flying for you. You do a little scruff and a little fade.
I've done the scruff for years. I just wanted to go full clean.
610-632-0975. Coming up the news at noon featuring Bad Haircut. 12 o'clock hour is brought to you by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months. Get a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. It is time for the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The news at noon brought to us by Ray Dunn. 3 stories that stood out for our pal Ray as he is now considering getting a new haircut.
Never. Not once.
Ray, what do you have today for the news at noon?
All right, let's start out in hoops. We're going to start out in college hoops because Woj hopped on ESPN radio for the first time since he left ESPN to go be the general manager of St. Bonaventure men's basketball, and he was asked whether or not he still follows the NBA.
How much still follow the NBA? Even less than I thought I would. You know what? I still am talking to a lot of folks. Okay. But I really find myself very focused in on college basketball, watching a lot of college basketball, watching film, on the phone, but I'm still keeping an eye on, and I'm still hearing from my colleagues at ESPN and obviously GMs and agents, and I'm talking to a lot of the same agents, but now instead of stories, I'm trying to find the 4 or 5 man, that stretch 4, stretch 5, some quiet part of Europe or Africa or somewhere on this great planet. We are combing the planet for future Bonnies.
Well, so he can recruit like that. Isn't that an NCAA situation?
Yeah, I guess he's able to just do that. But how awesome is it to have Woj just being able to be like, yeah, this agent, the guy you're looking at, how are the other guys in his league? Is there one that might fit at St. Bonaventure? I mean, what an advantage.
I guess if he would know what a good player is. I mean,
he's not the one assessing it. He's the one talking to someone who's assessing it.
Yeah, but, they have a personal agenda, too. You got to wade through.
Well, the scout? You think the scout's buddies with, the guy who's not going
trying
to
to get a player who may not be that quality to get to a Division I school? I don't know. Good for him. If he's happy at St. Bonaventure, he used to make, about $10 million?
Yeah.
At
ESPN? Something ridiculous like that.
So what's the same? What's the budget of St. Bonaventure?
I don't think it's that.
No, what do you think it is, Ray? You've been around the college.
God, what he's making, he's not making.
What's he making? 85?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I have to guess. I don't know what the
not
GM
about the money.
landscape is.
Living in beautiful Olean, New York.
Well, that's what I heard in that clip was a very happy man.
Yeah,
a very happy man. And I could tell you it's not about the money because I went from being a lawyer to doing this, making a lot more money then, but I'm a lot happier now, especially getting to see you two every single day.
Of course, you get a little nest egg. Yeah, stashed away.
Well, I'm sure Woj. You don't think Woj saves some money?
Yeah, Woj does too. Yeah.
Also, how much more about the Embiid situation do you think Woj knows than us right now? Even tapped out.
He probably knows a lot.
I can't imagine he just quits that life.
Give him a call now, because there's college people talk to each other, right? So, you're on the high on the hierarchy of Temple.
Yeah, Woj wouldn't have come on before, but now he will.
Yeah, I have an audience with a guy at St. Bonnie. Come on.
Get Shams on the show,
They used
too.
to be in your league.
They did. Back in the day.
10. I've covered many games at St. Bonaventure. Hated every one of them.
I was going to say, you did not give the glowing review when the news was announced.
It's like living in Buffalo. All right. It really is. That's where you fly into. There's one road in Olean, and it's always icy. All right, go ahead.
All right, let's go from college hoops to college football. Texas A&M head coach Mike Elko was asked about keeping his team's focus on Auburn despite the Texas matchup looming. He tried to coach speak his way through this one and did not do a good job.
I don't think it's an issue. I think when you're in the situation we're in, it's easy to focus on the task at hand. I think, those big games earlier in the year, maybe you look ahead. If we didn't have that stake, what's at stake, maybe you would worry about it. I think our focus is single-handedly on on Auburn right now and locked in on what we got to get done.
Yeah, he focuses on Auburn. Sure it is. You better hope your team doesn't feel the same way, man, because that's college kids have a way of doing that. This team, we'll smoke them. We got to get ready for Texas. And then they lay an egg.
He tried. He got 20 seconds into that answer, was so close to coach speaking his way out.
Yeah, the brain took over.
Yep.
All right, last one.
Last one. Michael Carter Williams. We played Lou Will yesterday. He got a chance to talk to Michael Carter Williams later on in that show. MCW joined his show, Run It Back on FanDuel, and expressed the hurt over being traded by the 76ers.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I mean, I was all those emotions, bro. I was surprised. I was upset. I didn't understand. I spent a lot of time trying to understand it. I would be in the meetings with Pinky and, Brett Brown, and we would talk about our future. Like, they would ask me my opinion on, X, Y, and Z, whatever. So I thought I was really part of the process, like step by step, like things that I wouldn't even ask for, I was invited to, like, and I'm sure they meant it with all good intention, but it was confusing when, I got the call. I got the call with like 5 minutes of the trade deadline. It was like, you're being traded to Milwaukee. So yeah, it was a tough experience for me just to, try to understand something that I was never going to be able to understand,
Yeah, I could see where he was rookie of the year. He had a good year. He overachieved. Nobody thought he would be that good that first year, but I think they saw the landscape on what he could be. And so they moved him, and they wound up getting a number 1 pick out of it, which turned out to be the pick they used to select Mikal Bridges, and then moved it to get Zaire Smith. But that trade also brought them Tobias Harris.
So it got us nothing, is what you're saying.
Basically, it was a failure.
Zaire.
I think and I still think they got hoodwinked by San Antonio. I think Pop screwed Brett Brown. I think Pop thought that Pop told, from what I understand, told the Sixers that they really like Zaire Smith and they'd be willing to move him in a deal with where Kawhi would come to the Sixers. And that never transpired, so they got hoodwinked. When I think of Michael Carter Williams, I think about his Pop, who I played against in the pickup game.
Yeah? Was he good?
Did I tell you that story?
No.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, I told you that story. Michael Carter Williams' Pop. Rick Brunson, who played for Temple, was a McDonald's All-American recruit. I go up to Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh, I
do a story on him. I hung out with him and his family for a long time. Rick's a good guy. I know him very well. And he says, we run at Salem State College. You want to run with us? I was in my 30s. I was running. And I got destroyed. I mean, I had never. College kids flocked to Salem State on Saturday morning playing these pickup games. And I got smoked, man. And Michael Carter Williams' Pop was one of the guys that smoked me.
It was fun, though, right?
No. No, it wasn't fun.
That trade just makes me think of the Magic Johnson tweet that they just traded the future Jason Kidd to Jason Kidd. It was the coach of the Bucks at that time.
Uh-huh.
That was my one takeaway from that trade. That's what I was reminded of. Yours, a little bit more fun than mine.
So you were high on Michael Carter Williams?
I say Magic Johnson tweet that one.
Magic
I was
Johnson.
also because I was a Syracuse guy.
Oh, you are?
I enjoy watching Syracuse. And then, Mike Carter Williams had the career Mike Carter Williams had.
Why didn't you go to Syracuse?
They have a great communications
Did you
program.
just not describe St. Bonaventure? Did I want to go freeze in the middle of New York and spend 40-something thousand to do that? No thanks.
Isn't that one of the best communications
Yeah, it is.
programs?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Did you apply to
Pretty
Syracuse?
good campus, too. The town is a piece of crap, but the campus
Yeah, the campus is nice. I
not
went,
bad.
visited, I
Yeah.
applied, got in, got a decent money offer, but I didn't want to spend all that money.
See, you could have been taken under the wing of Mike Tirico. See, now when you go for a big network job, you're not that Syracuse guy.
That's fine. I think I'll survive. I got to be the producer of the Mike Missanelli show without it.
Yeah, I think we need to respect Ray's commitment to the city of Philadelphia here. Because he could have gone to Penn State. He could have gone to Syracuse. He could have probably gone to any Ivy League school with that SAT score. But he wanted to stay in Philly. Ray, I respect it.
Well, while you try and go over the top here in the defense of me, we can all look at the price tag difference, too, and understand.
Ray, it's all about the city. Stop.
Okay.
All about the city. By the way, I have a question for both of you. I stopped at Wawa today. I'll ask you coming up after this. I know I'm not usually a Wawa guy. I know Mike is, so I have a serious question when we get back.
Okay. That's a nice tease. Call that a tease in business, Bill. 610-632-0975. Back after this. Missanelli Show. Yep. In honor of Nick Sirianni, way to play that. We haven't spoken about Nick today. We haven't spoken about the Eagles. We will. Tomorrow is Football Friday. They have a game on Sunday night against the Rams. I don't know about this game. I'm a fretting about this game. I know, Bill, you're not.
Yeah, I think the Eagles win this game. I think they're the better team, both sides of the football. But Nick Sirianni, did you see what the Eagles did at practice yesterday?
They played a song that we play a lot, California Love, and the theory is that Nick Sirianni is a closet listener to the Mike Missanelli Show.
It's possible.
On 97.5 The Fanatic. He shirks that other station.
It's
that he's involved with because they pay him.
Well, who else has a platinum hit like we do?
He listens to the real stuff here, the Mike Missanelli Show, and his cousin, Bill Colarulo. And so from that, he got the idea to play California Love at practice.
So I saw multiple tweets from people that they were blasting it. Now what they need to do is we may have to do a professional recording of Sirianni Love. Let them blast that at practice.
I'm a radio producer. You talk to a music producer, you can take care of that.
Ray's got an attitude today.
Well, he's mad. You came after his haircut.
Have you noticed this?
You came after his haircut.
Ray's got a little snippage to him today.
Yeah, you would think in sweatpants he'd be more relaxed, but he's not.
He didn't like the hair comment. I was trying to help with the lad. You know, I've been around a lot longer than the lad has, so I feel like
I just would like to take this from any other point of view. Anyone else thrilled with their haircut being dragged through the mud on radio? Has that ever been something where someone's
got it
like,
cut by Enzo? It's time to leave Enzo.
Oh, sorry. Wait a second. No, never mind. It's not just your haircut being dragged through the mud. It's now you're being compared to an episode of Seinfeld where the entire premise of the episode is a poor haircut.
Oh, Ray.
That's supposed to be the good news today.
You're so loyal, Ray. You've been coming to the barbershop since you're 10 years old. I still give you the 10-year-old haircut.
The YouTube vote has now officially gone in your favor. It's 51% says no, Ray should not change his look.
They're 50% don't have style. Come on, man. All right.
Doesn't Look how mad Ray's getting.
He doesn't like
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
Ray is getting angry.
Ray doesn't understand. I'm trying to help the man.
But I have a question about Wawa.
Yeah. Go ahead. Now, what's this Wawa thing? What's going on?
Normally, I'm a Starbucks guy. But I had to take my kids back to their mom this morning. There was no Starbucks on the way here, a lot of traffic. So I stopped at the Wawa. First of all, I got the turkey sausage sizzler. That was phenomenal. With egg, of course.
Of course you got the egg. Did you get that custom made, or did you get it when it's at the counter?
A counter hot under the light.
Oh, it's a counter purchase.
Yeah, just grabbed it.
All right.
Delicious, though, on a croissant.
The only thing they have on that egg is the pork roll, by the way, because I've been through that.
Yeah, I'm not a pork roll. I'm not a pork roll guy.
Big pork roll and cheese.
Here's my question. Mm-hmm. When I order my Starbucks coffee, they don't give you a choice with the lid. You get the domed lid.
What do you mean you order your
Starbucks?
Starbucks. Okay.
Yeah, so Starbucks, they give you the coffee. It's got a domed lid on it.
Yeah.
At Wawa, you have your choice between the dome lid,
correct,
and then the flat one that you have to peel back.
Yeah, I go flat.
I'm asking the right person. Why the hell would anyone go with a flat lid? The domed lid is such a more convenient lid.
Why is it convenient?
What do you need? So now you got to pull back the top. What do you like? That's like I see that as.
Well, the dome already has the opening.
Yeah, the dome already has the opening. It's a better way to drink it. You don't have to worry about folding it back. I just don't know why anyone in their right mind
first of all,
would pick the flat over the dome.
Because the heat's coming out of the hole of the dome before you even drink it. So if you have the lid on, when you're ready to actually unseal that baby, it's perfectly hot.
Nah. I think the flat lid has been passed
First
by
of all,
the
I'm not
modern
a fan
technology.
Of the Wawa coffee. I'm not a fan.
I went with the Colombian roast.
Yeah, it's not the same.
I prefer Starbucks coffee. I don't understand anyone that goes with the flat lid. You're still just because of the heat that's let out? Aren't you drinking it at that point? What are you saving it for?
You drink it in the store?
I start drinking it the moment I pour it.
No, I don't.
All right, so you got to walk to your car. How cold do you think it's going to get from that little hole on the top of the lid?
The heat is suppressed. It stays in there.
No.
No.
Flat lid is...
Nah.
That's old technology.
It doesn't make sense to him that a sealed coffee cup would be hotter than one that already has a hole.
But then you got to peel back the piece. Do you leave it peeled back?
What is this like? You're building a bridge to peel back the The freaking tab?
Yeah, but then if you peel it back and you put it in your cup holder, every bump you hit, it's going to spill out because it's flat. When you got the domed top, it doesn't come out the little hole. Ray, are you a domed?
Well,
You're a
wait
domed
a
lid.
minute.
I'll always choose dome.
The hole is cup level. The dome goes above the hole.
Exactly.
Well, but if you hit a bump, it's still going to come out the hole.
No, it won't because it's high. No, the hole is still higher. It's elevated. I don't understand
You better
the flat
prove
lid.
that because I don't think the hole is that elevated. The dome is, not the hole of the dome.
No. People in the
No.
Jamal Hutchinson in YouTube using a flat lid for coffee is diabolical. Agreed. Agreed.
I used to flat all the time instead of the dome. I don't like the dome. I don't know. It just looks peculiar to me.
I don't get the flat lid. Look at us. There's flat lid and there's
But
dome
I rarely
people.
get coffee in Wawa because it's they put the Cuban roast out there too, and it's still not Cuban. Right? It's too light. It's not coffee to me. It's like Dunkin' Donuts and Wawa. It's thin. It's thinner coffee.
Yeah, Starbucks caffeine level is so high that even having the Wawa coffee, I'll still get like a headache around this time because I need that caffeine fix. But Starbucks knows. They give you a dome lid. They don't even give you the option. You can't go in there and say, can I get one of those flat lids that was old technology? No. You go with the
So
new
you
technology.
splurged, man. There was no health bar in the middle of that egg sandwich?
No,
You know,
man.
the turkey sausage and egg with a health bar stuffed in there?
No, I went Sizzler. Wait, was that what it's called? A Sizzler? A Sizzle? What is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the first time I ever had
Sizzly.
it. Sizzly. Yeah, with the croissant.
First time you've had a sizzly?
First time ever. You believe that?
Where have you been living?
He doesn't go to Wawa. It's beneath
But, like,
beneath him.
he's 40-something.
Yeah, it's beneath him. He's all about health bars and Starbucks.
Yeah, but he's been all about health since when?
Yeah, because even in Starbucks, you can get something healthy. You can get the egg bites.
Yeah, I go with the egg
Yeah,
white.
yeah,
egg
yeah,
whites.
yeah.
Listen, we're going to take this away from the egg hate. And just how in the world can you go 40 years without a sizzly?
It's a good question. I actually it was so good. I called my wife after the first bite to tell her. I said, I just got this delicious sandwich with the. She goes, yeah, the sizzly. Even she knew. I didn't know what the hell it was. It was delicious. But it was a domed lid
Oh, my
coffee.
God.
That's the point of the
I'm
conversation.
so glad I'm not married. Honey! Oh, my goodness gracious!
You're not going to believe
I took a bite of a sizzly and it was spectacular. Can we have that conversation when I get home tonight?
You can tell the love's there, though. His reaction to eating something he liked was, you know what? My wife needs to hear about this.
Yeah, I'm like, you got to try this. It's this new thing.
Honey, I was driving behind a car and he put his windshield wiper fluid on and it hit my windshield. It's so exciting.
I should have known you were a flat lid guy. Should have known it.
Let's take a break. We'll come back after this. You know. Yeah, I gotta make an appearance in the courtroom today, Bill. Been a while.
You got to go to court? So Ray and I will hold down the fort till 2.
For the last hour, yes. By the way, before I depart, the Fanatic Deal of the Week, you got to check it out. Yuletide Liberty Hill. This is a cool thing, especially if you have a family. You get 2 single-day adult tickets to Yuletide Liberty Hill for the price of 1. It's located in Lafayette Hill. Yuletide Liberty Hill is the region's ultimate Christmas village. It features rides, boutique shopping, ice skating, live music, craft drinks and food, and so much more. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. Ray, I think this would be a good date thing for you. You get the hand-holding ice skating thing for young Ray.
Yeah, nah, I'll pass on that.
Really? Yeah, that's not that.
Much of an ice skating.
That wouldn't be you?
No.
No? Can you ice skate?
Not particularly well, so it wouldn't be the first choice for me.
No, don't do it, dude.
Well, Rocky couldn't either.
Yeah, but
and he that was a love match he made with
Mike. I went to college.
Adrian.
I went to college with a kid who took a girl in high school ice skating on a date. She fell. He wasn't very sturdy on his feet. He ended up cutting off a piece of her finger. So don't do it. If you're not a good skater, Ray. Isn't that terrible?
That's a horrible story.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It's not the first choice for a.
It's kind of lovey-dovey. You can have a cup of coffee with a dome lid, and you're skating around, and falling is actually a bonding experience. You laugh at each other.
Yeah, until you crack your head open on the ice.
Yeah, I'm in for the rest of the village. I'm in for the rest of the time, but I'll
you know
pass
what you
on
could do though,
ice skating.
See, I was an ice skater growing up, so I was always cool when we would go to the roller skating parties because I could also rollerblade and all. That you could go backwards for the slow dance, Ray. You know what I'm talking about? You could be going backwards with her.
What's the special song they play when you go backwards? Isn't there a song that you vibe to? With the,
I don't remember.
Yeah, I thought it was a special roller skating song that you do that to.
I used to love the roller skating rinks back in the day. Do you still go to those, Ray? Are those cool or no?
No.
I'm talking about for because I've seen it
in your 20s.
The roller skating
No, there
rink
are some
used
that
to be
go.
like I used to go to a place called Roller-Rama. And that's a great place for the ladies to respect you if you do the roller skating there.
Yeah. Ray doesn't know what we're talking about.
Roller skating I did once in high school, and ice skating was like a middle school event that Friday nights, Center Ice and Oaks was open for people. That was
listen. I'm just suggesting that maybe it's a nice hand-holding venture. And
I'd love a good Christmas holiday themed type evening, but I'm probably not taking it to the ice.
All right. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Aaron in Jeffersonville. Aaron, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Aaron.
Michael, how you been, buddy?
What's up?
So much. I want to talk about Sixers and a little bit about the NBA. I mean, first of all, the Sixers are basically a basketball parallel of the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we peaked in '85, I guess, when we traded for Rulin. Cowboys peaked in, '96? And since then, except for Iverson's 1 year, taking us to the championship, neither team can get out of the second round to go to a championship game. Both teams are overhyped as hell. Both teams can't get out of their own way. And to quote you about the Cowboys, both teams are irrelevant. I mean, I think they're an easy parallel, and I'm tired of the Sixers. I called you years ago about setting a culture of losing with the process, and that's still their culture. They are not a winning franchise. It's 1 year after another, drama here, drama there, and they're also paralleling the NBA, who since 2012 has lost 48% of its viewership, even with that new contract they sent, and ratings are down 28% this year. Stars are getting injured left and right. Nobody plays 82 games anymore like they did a better conditioned athlete now than in 1980. I just can't even get into basketball anymore. It's a shame because I loved it growing up, Michael. I loved it from the we owe you one to the Celtics and Lakers and Sixers were all the top teams, and now they're a joke. The Sixers are a joke right now.
You paint a very bleak picture, Aaron, and at this point, I can't disagree with you. But again, the season could turn. It's unlikely to turn.
How many times, Michael, I can't hear that anymore.
Well, I understand. I'm just saying it's a possibility. I'm not that high on the possibility, but it is a possibility.
Michael, how many years have I heard you or anybody else say, and I know you're a big Sixer fan, I respect that, this is our year. Oh, it's different this year. Oh, we drafted Sean Bradley. Oh, we drafted Leo Routon. Oh, we got Okafor. I mean, how many of these drafts do you want me to go through? They look like they drafted a good guy this year. So now he's the savior. So now, I'm sure everything's going to be fine with.
Yeah, the scariest part of this whole thing is that the Embiid thing has come. It's reached its apex, and it's not going to get any better. That's the scary part of the whole thing. Now, I wasn't that high on this team being assembled, and Bill, you know that. I wasn't one of these guys that, oh my God, look, they got a big three, they're going to be hell. I didn't like it. I didn't like the vibe of it. I certainly didn't expect that Embiid would not be ready to play, which added to it for me. But I didn't like the way he assembled this team. I don't like assembling old role players.
Now, you've been consistent.
And a 34-year-old guy that you think is 24. And you didn't learn your lesson with Harden. And Harden was frustrating. And now this is the same thing you're going to go through with this guy. Aaron in South Philly joins. Aaron, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Aaron.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
First of all, let me just say the flat lid is superior. It's the best way to drink it. It's a classic look. It's amazing. You can take it off, put it back on.
Come on.
It's
Anti-dome.
look, man. I don't know what to tell you.
No. How old are you? Aaron, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Wow, a 25-year-old with a flat lid.
Aaron, I agree with you. I agree with you. The dome is harder to put on than the flat.
No,
it really is.
It is. You got to kind of like sometimes. When I've used the dome, sometimes I miss, and I tip it, and it spills.
Yeah, but when you're ripping open the flat, sometimes you rip off the whole lid.
Well, no, I don't rip off the whole lid. I'm good that way. I'm a surgeon when it comes to that.
Come on, Aaron.
It's just, hey, that's just the way I grew up, I guess. But hey, let me get to it. I just have two things. I'm a bone to pick. I called in yesterday, and I said that the issue was ownership. And again, I feel like you admitted it yourself here. I mean, you said that people in the organization knew about Embiid's latenesses. They knew about his mopiness. They knew about his attitude, and they just let it happen because he's a star and he's putting up these numbers. But it sets a bad culture. It's not a winning culture. It's just not. And it starts with ownership, okay? All these teams that Daryl Morey has assembled are trash, okay? He's a great scout for talent and draft picks. I do like him for that. But he has not assembled a good team, and continuity has not been a thing. And Nick Nurse, I mean...
Yeah, I agree. Listen, the only thing you can do as an owner, Aaron, is try to hire the best people to run it. Now, was Josh Harris misguided in hiring Daryl Morey, who was misguided in hiring Nick Nurse? I mean, we'll find that out soon enough. I don't think Morey has really accomplished that much as a general manager here. Now, maybe he was put in a bag trying to get out of a bad situation, and he realized that my only solution here is to milk Embiid for whatever is left of him, and to do that, we got to add stars, and even if they're older stars, we have to do that. Instead of did he have time to build it with Embiid with a little younger? I think he did. I think they could have done that. They chose to go the other way with it.
I mean, how much time do you think they had with Joel? Assuming Joel gets back to his dominant self this year, which he looked like it last night. He dropped 35 last night. What's the window?
But see, I look at all these other teams in the NBA, and they all have young energy. Every one of them has young energy. You go, who's that guy? Where did they get that guy? All of a sudden, I'm watching Memphis last night. Who's this Laravia kid and the other Alama and these guys? Like, who are these? Like, they cultivated these guys, and they play hard.
Yeah, but
they're younger guys that play hard.
And they got that. I mean, Tyrese Maxey is a young guy that plays hard.
How many young guys do they have? For crying out loud, how many young guys do the Sixers have that bring that kind of young energy?
Well, you got Maxey, you have the rookie now in Jared McCain. How old is Yabusele now? I know he was out of the league for a while.
He's
only 28. He's not old.
Would be considered a young talent.
He's 28.
He's just a role player. He's not like young talent.
Yeah, but isn't that what you're talking about? When you look
wasn't even in the league until this year, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but when you look at their starting five, we'll get to the bench in a second. When you look at their starting five, that could potentially be Maxey and McCain and Caleb Martin. Aren't those three energy guys right there to go with Embiid and George? Those are three energy guys.
They're not enough. They're not good enough. They're just not. The younger guys aren't good at, like, you put a Kelly Oubre in that situation with Caleb Martin. They're about the same age, aren't they? Are those two guys good enough to make a difference?
Yeah, how old's Caleb Martin? Caleb Martin's 29. They're not that old.
Oubre are the same age. That 29 is older.
Yeah, they're not 35.
Come on, man.
Look, I just look at Embiid's window as being 3 years if we're lucky. So you had to do something to win now. You couldn't go young. You couldn't wait till these young guys grow. You had to do something now.
But it's a possibility that young guys can contribute if you get the right ones. It seems like every team has them.
I just think you have Maxey. I don't know, man. I'm frustrated.
Listen, let's cut to the chase. They don't have enough good young players on this team. They just don't. They don't have enough young difference-making players who can come in. Like, everybody got all excited last night because that freaking Ricky Council IV had a couple dunks. He can't even play. Nick Nurse can't even trust him to put him out there. Out of desperation, he got time last night. He made a couple dunks, and everybody gets all, wow, Ricky. You know? He's all over the place, that guy.
Yeah, he's not ready. And maybe he never will be, but I don't know, Mike. I just don't know what else they could have done this offseason. When you have Embiid and you had Maxey, everybody wanted that wing that could play both sides of the court, and I thought they got it in Paul George. Maybe they should have gone younger. I just don't know who would have been available out there that they could have got.
This was the bench that played last night. Yabusele, K.J. Martin, Drummond, Reggie Jackson, Kelly Oubre, Eric Gordon, Ricky Council. The only guys that didn't put in a freaking game was Lester Quinones.
You happy that your boy Dalton is back in the G League, right?
They sent him back to the G League? Oh, my God. That's right. He wasn't on the bench last night. He shifted to the G League.
Right, Ray? They sent him down. Yeah.
He should be in the H League is where he should be.
I wonder why they were playing him so much. Just, I guess, to see what they had early.
Nick Nurse is just taking flyers. Let me try this. Jeff Dalton. Seriously? Got a lot of playing time, too, early.
He did. I don't know what the plan was.
Ridiculous. Al, West Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Al.
Yeah, but here's the problem that I have, Mike. Yabusele had 17 points. He had 19 minutes. He had 19 minutes last night. 19 minutes, and he was the third leading scorer in that game last night.
Yeah, he made 5 threes.
Right. But guess what? He didn't play at all in the fourth quarter when the game was on the line. He didn't get in the game.
Yeah, because he's not a great defender.
That's coaching. No,
not a great defender. They were behind. They had to get stops.
Listen, they were in the game, and you had no one else. What is it? 17, but 19.
My point is, they're all flawed. So there are times when you go, I can't play the guy. We're behind. I got to get some steal.
Flawed players. Those young guys were just knocking down threes, and the Sixers did not catch up. But I just happen to disagree with you on that. And I think Ricky Council could be a player. I think that also.
What do you see in Ricky Council? Seriously, because he dunks? Because come on. He can't play.
He's more energy than Andre Drummond. He's more of a center. He's 10, 6, 11, and very active under the board.
You talking about Ricky Council?
Dem Bona, the center from UCLA.
Bona?
Oh, my God.
Come on, you can't play Bona yet.
He's a young kid. We're talking about young players. You have to give these guys.
Al, this is the NBA. A guy like Bona is not ready for the. All right.
We wouldn't have known how good Jerry McCain was unless he played.
You know how desperate you're getting now. You're going to give me a Dem Bona.
Yes, I'm going to give you Dem Bona.
Why don't you go to Quinones? We'll call it a day.
If you draft him, give him a chance to get out there and play.
They drafted him as a project. He's not even at Paul Reed level, at Dem Bona.
Yeah, I'm excited about maybe what he can do in a couple of years. I liked what he had to say, the player he compared himself to in Ben Wallace. It's not a bad guy to try to model your game after. He'd be loved in Philly. But if this is a true contender, Dem Bona's not getting a lot of minutes.
How many Ben Wallaces are in the league?
Right now? Probably none.
Right.
Well, maybe.
Ben Wallace's don't, like they're like Andre Drummond's.
Yeah. Well,
they're not versatile enough to
Who?
space.
Maybe Draymond Green is the closest comparison. Who would
Dembona?
No, to Ben Wallace. Who would we say is a Ben Wallace type? Not Draymond. No, I just think attitude-wise, but not the way he plays. Ben Wallace was he had no offense.
The game was different then. All right, let's go to the text board. Well, what do we got on the text board, Ray?
All right, we got Anthony and Delco. Joel is soft. Point blank, that's the issue. He's not able to really overcome what he doesn't like. He refuses to wake up and realize what is in front of him. If your franchise players in other sports like Hurts, A.J. Brown, or Harper shut up at the beginning of the season, not ready to play, missing games, to be asking for a one-way ticket out of city, the Sixers will never win a championship with this guy because he doesn't hate missing games and this team losing more than he wants to be a champion.
I think he wants to be a champion. I disagree with that. I think he wants to be a champion. I think he thinks his way he can still be a champion. He's not soft. He's a pacer. He paces himself. That make you soft. That means you're conserving your energy for certain reasons. Either you think that it's better for your injury situation, or it's better for you to last more minutes. But he's a pacer. He's not a Shaq. He's a pacer.
Well, Shaq, we've done this before. Shaq showed up quite a few seasons out of shape. So if we're getting on Joel for not showing up in shape, I mean, Shaq's done it. I don't know. I'm just.
You're really trying to.
I'm trying to find something.
You are trying to support Joel Embiid in some way, and I admire it.
I would love to be able to support him. I'm okay still with the load management idea. I'm still okay with trying to keep him as healthy as possible come playoff time. But all of that could have been accomplished, and he still could have showed up to camp in shape. He still could have showed up to things on time. He still could have been a better leader with the quotes he's given to the media about the meetings. There are things that can be done. I know what you're saying is that this load management idea gave him free reign to say, the regular season doesn't matter. Camp doesn't matter. I don't need to be there. I don't have to show up on time. But I don't think that they have to be mutually exclusive. I think you could have load management and still be a leader on the team.
Here's the big question that we haven't really answered, but it's a question that should be out floating in space. Have we seen the best of the Embiid era?
You know, we talked a little bit about this over the summer, because if you look at Embiid, his points per game have gone up almost every year. So had we even seen the best of him yet? We thought that maybe there was a chance that could continue to rise, or he could still play at that level. I just don't know now. Because how much of what you're seeing with Joel, and again, up until yesterday, because I thought he looked good yesterday, but how much of it was he's out of shape, or how much of it is this is just physically who he is as a player now? If it's just he's out of shape, he can get back to the Joel being the dominant MVP guy. But if the knee is just going to be as bad as it looked in the beginning of the season where he's dragging it around, I don't know. But if you've seen the best of his, then they got no shot.
Let's close it out for me anyway with a Tobias text. we got Tobias. We are so dazed and confused.
Yeah.
That we're getting text about Tobias Harris, right?
Not just text about him. Eric at Newark. Give me Tobias over Paul George. At least with Tobias, you knew what you had, and he took the floor every night.
My God.
Oh, that's a joke,
Are
right?
Are you kidding me, dude? With that text. At least you know what you have. What the hell's that mean?
You have nothing.
You have mediocrity. That's yeah. All right. On that note.
All right. Well, we will see you tomorrow.
I have to get out of here, folks. Sorry, missing the last hour. We'll be back tomorrow with a little Football Friday. Stay tuned because Bill and Ray will take you the rest of the way with this topic and many other things that are on their mind. Thanks for listening. Talk to you tomorrow.
has been holding court.
I just find it really interesting that on one hand, Joel Embiid likes to proclaim himself as the most dominant player in the league. And on the other hand, you don't want the responsibility of that? Like, what sense does that make? You are the marquee player on this team and one of the marquee players of this league. People aren't going to pay attention to what you do? And you're going to, like, woe is me and cry about, oh, it's always me? When you're not ready to start the season, and because you're not ready to start the season, this team is running around like the Keystone Cops and bumper cars at the Wildwood Boardwalk.
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
Listen, it's frustrating because we're going to now hyper-focus on everything that's being done because they're 2-12 and because Embiid's been out of shape and because everything that's surrounding this team and all the negativities. But the reason that we're focused on the Joel Embiid stuff is because he just doesn't get it. All he had to say was he could have showed, I'm upset that the meeting was leaked. That should be internal, but we all need to be better and it starts with me. Done. But don't give us something.
Constantly. And then he goes back to the same passive-aggressive BS. For some reason, he says, it just feels like negativity keeps following me, which I don't understand. Are you nuts? Do you have any self-awareness at all?
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grungo Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Mike Missanelli Show. No Mike Missanelli for the last hour. I thought he'd never leave, Ray. Now, I'm kidding. Mike obviously has something he has to take care of for the last hour, but you still have Bill Colarulo. You still have Ray Dunn. And you just heard it there on the holding court, the big topic of conversation today and really all week, even last week, has been this 76ers drama, the mess that's been created, 2-12 start. But a lot of it has been focused on Joel Embiid. And then we got news yesterday that there was a team meeting where Tyrese Maxey called out Joel Embiid. The more we've learned about that meeting, that was a small part of the meeting, but yes, it gets blown up because it's Joel. And Joel Embiid is supposed to be the leader of the team. And the fact that Tyrese Maxey has to tell him he's late for everything, quote unquote, became big news. So after the game last night, where Joel Embiid actually played really well on the court, 35 minutes, dropped 35 points, 11 rebounds, went to the free throw line 14 times, made all of them. Felt good about Joel, even though the Sixers lost and Paul George got hurt and you didn't feel good about the team. I actually felt good about Joel Embiid. Thought, okay, here we go. He's getting back to maybe the Joel Embiid we saw before he got hurt last year. And then he speaks to the media after the game. We have no audio of it. There's no video of it, which is shocking to me. But it's reported that he said, whoever leaked that is a real piece of bleep. Okay. I don't love it. Wish he would have avoided that. But okay, he was upset. He didn't want the leak to happen. We've heard that from a lot of people. They don't understand how the leak happened. Paul George just went on his podcast, said the same thing, how that leak happened. So I don't have a major problem with that. But what we had a big problem with is Joel still doesn't get it. As long as he's been in this city, he knows how Philadelphia is. People describe us as being a hard place to play. But really all we ask for are athletes who leave it all out on the court and all out on the field. And he still doesn't seem to get that because he had to go down the road of the woe is me. He had to talk about how that part of the meeting was only 40 seconds, but it's Joel Embiid, so things will get blown out of proportion. He goes on to say he doesn't understand why the negativity follows him around. He said, I was only late 1 or 2 times. It's those type of things that are not going to sit well with this fan base when it's reported that you came to camp out of shape. When it's reported that you get called out for showing up late to things. That's not going to sit well, Joel. So if you're going to be a leader and you know this city, a simple, that meeting was supposed to be private. That meeting was supposed to stay within the family of our team. We all need to be better and it starts with me. Done. End it. But when you go down the road of the woe is me again, and you have that passive-aggressive attitude, that's when people are going to lose their minds. And that's what we're spending a lot of time talking about today on the show. Now, I did promise people in the YouTube chat that we're going to do some Eagles talk before the end of the show, and we will get there. Because all the negativity surrounding the 76ers and all the drama surrounding the 76ers, there's still a lot to be positive about when it comes to our Philadelphia Eagles.
So much good.
Damn right there's so much good at 8-2. Now, people on YouTube are asking if we're just going to run Sirianni Love on repeat for the next 60 minutes. I don't know if Ray would be able to.
No.
Yeah, I don't think Ray would be able to handle that. But we will get to some Eagles talk, but I know there's some people who want to get in. And if you still want to get in on the Joel Embiid conversation, the Sixers conversation, 610-632-0975. You can call or you can text. Ray, what do we got on the text board for the Sixers?
We got someone checking it saying Embiid needs Jalen Hurts PR people. Just stop answering the questions.
I know, like, Jalen Hurts is frustrating as hell because he's very robotic, doesn't give you much. He gives you all those little quotes, the keeping the main thing. But the texter's not wrong.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
If Joel Embiid last night didn't give the media any of those little nuggets, I don't think the topic of conversation would be today that Joel is still not matured, that Joel still doesn't understand this city, that Joel still doesn't get it. None of that would have been discussed if he simply gave you a Jalen Hurts type answer of we need to be better and it starts with me. Done. I don't think anyone would have came after Joel today. But when you take that passive-aggressive attitude, especially in this city, when you came to camp out of shape, that was you. You weren't ready to play. You're the one who's been late for everything, as Tyrese Maxey said. When you give the passive-aggressive answer, this is how we're going to react. And it's not only Joel. I get it. I know there are people who are trying to defend Joel, saying it's not just Embiid, that even if Embiid gets back to the dominant force that we saw before the injury last year, they're still going to have problems. And you're not wrong. This team may be constructed in a very bad way. And I was guilty of being very excited about the way this team was constructed. I liked the Paul George move. I thought he was exactly what this team needed. That two-way wing, a proven star, a guy who can create offensively when Joel's not on the court. But you knew you were taking a risk with a 34-year-old player who's had injuries before throughout his career. And now we're seeing the second time now he hyperextends the knee. The positive with Paul George, though, is it doesn't look like we'll wait for word from the team, but it doesn't look like there's any structural damage in that knee. But is this going to be a constant thing now this season with him missing games? And then you look at the bench pieces, something Mike's talked about a lot. Yeah, they got a lot of old bench pieces. So there could be more problems than just Joel, but today the big talking point is Joel Embiid. Because if we're going to give Joel a majority of the credit when this team wins, then when things are going bad, it starts with him. And when his attitude's not right, that's going to trickle into the entire team. And I think that's a part of the reason why that meeting took place a couple nights ago. And I think it's part of the reason why it got leaked the way it did about Joel. Now, Joel wants to say, oh, this is just what happens. Negativity just follows me around. Well, as Taylor Swift says, Ray, I'm the problem, it's me. Ray knows some Taylor Swift back there. You don't like the Taylor Swift? You're not a big Swiftie?
No, nothing against Taylor Swift. Just your reference here. You're speaking as someone that I feel like doesn't quite grasp the whole Swift thing and is just trying to pull her into the equation here for no good reason. All right, this isn't an NFL broadcast.
I am not a Swiftie.
Taylor Swift.
Candidly, not a big Swiftie. My daughter used to like her. She's not into her as much anymore, but she used to like her. But let me go to the phones because Joe from Southampton wants to get in on this conversation. What's up, Joe? You're on the Fanatic.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good afternoon. Listen, besides all of this with Joel Embiid, the rest of this roster, they got guys are just about ready for the scrap heap. They're Eric Gordon, Reggie Jackson. I think Lowry's playing on fumes. And just sometimes, and I'm a diehard Sixer fan, been here since they came here from Syracuse, and sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I think they just don't care enough. They're too worried about selling jerseys or trying to sell that stupid stadium down in Center City, and that bugs me.
Well, when you say that the team, I mean, were you a fan when they signed Paul George? Did you think that was a good move?
I've been a fan since they came here from Syracuse in 1963.
So Joe goes way back. Yeah, Joe's not wrong. I mean, this is something that Mike has been saying a lot with the old bench pieces. But I'm still not ready to say that this team, as constructed, can't win. I know it's looked ugly, but you haven't seen them all together yet. Like, I have been a big fan of Caleb Martin. I loved him in Miami. I thought it was a nice move to bring him in here. I thought he was going to be a nice role player. But you can't be a role player when you don't have the big three stars on the court so that the other players can fill those roles. So I'm not ready to rule that Caleb Martin was a bad signing. And now we're still not going to know what's going to happen with the role players because Paul George is going to be out a little while. We had 5.5 minutes of the big three last night. That's it in the first quarter. So I don't know what's going to happen with this basketball team. But it's not looking good, and it's not just Joel. Like I said, we're going to spend a lot of time on Joel. He's the star. He's the leader. He's the big talking point after last night in what he said postgame. But yes, Daryl Morey may have swung and missed big time this offseason. Nick Nurse may not actually be a great coach. Now, it's hard to judge him. I think Nick Nurse has looked terrible this season, but it is hard to judge him when all of his pieces haven't been there. And I saw people in the YouTube chat earlier saying sometimes Nick Nurse doesn't even know who the players available are until warm-ups. Yeah, it's not easy. But he also hasn't done anything, in my opinion, to improve the product on the court. I don't think anyone would sit here and say, yeah, Nick Nurse is doing a good job. So there's a lot of blame and a lot of responsibility to go around. And they better figure something out quickly because every single game they lose, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And last night, when you're going up against a JV Memphis Grizzlies team, granted they shot the lights out of the building from 3, you still shouldn't have lost that basketball game. And now they're 2-12. Well, if you want to continue with the Sixers talk, you can get in 610-632-0975. But before the end of the show, because this has been so much negativity around the Sixers, I got to get some positivity going on these airwaves. So we're going to get into the 8-2 Philadelphia Eagles, who got a big game on Sunday Night Football against the Los Angeles Rams. We're going to do it all right here on the Mike Missanelli Show. We got you till 2 o'clock. Bill Colarulo, Ray Dunn. Keep it here. Back in, everybody, the Mike Missanelli Show. Black Hole Sun. Almost feels like the Sixers organization right now, right? Pretty relevant.
Good work. I'm impressed that you got this one.
Yeah. Mike usually picks the comeback songs, but I know a few. But
I'm just saying, I don't know if this was the energy that I envisioned for you coming back from break.
No, I'm more of an energy guy.
Yeah.
Especially if we're going to switch to some Philadelphia Eagles talk. But big conversation for really the last week and a half on our show has been the Sixers conversation and all the drama surrounding it. But this 1 o'clock hour is brought to you by Ferguson HVAC Lyon Conklin. Attention HVAC contractors. For equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job, visit one of Ferguson's counter locations in Bensalem, King of Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester. So Mike's not with us for this last hour. You just got me and Ray done. Little preview of Thanksgiving Day. We're going to have me and Ray on Thanksgiving Day. So when you're traveling to your family, it's like the most traveled day of the year. I think the day before, actually.
Yeah, and then that's Sunday afterwards.
And then that's Sunday after. But on Thanksgiving, as you're driving to your family from 10 to 2, make sure you tune in to me and Ray. We're going to have a fun little show planned. Obviously, we'll talk some sports, but we'll mix in some fun stuff.
It'll be a live reaction to a Lions game, too. I will get to watch you watch Dan Campbell coach.
I can't wait till he makes a bad decision on Thanksgiving.
I can't wait till they're up 21 points, and you're sitting there just seething at 1:30.
I actually have an idea for Thanksgiving Day for us.
Oh, really?
So in addition to the whole, favorite food item and side item and all that, I'm thinking we give the best dad jokes so that people can tell to their family on their way to Thanksgiving dinner. So we'll share some dad jokes. We'll get dad jokes from everybody on Thanksgiving, and then you could take those jokes and impress your family and friends on Thanksgiving meal.
Or get yourself thrown out of the room, either one.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to say any inappropriate jokes.
No, it's not inappropriate. Some people just get annoyed by those kind of jokes.
Yeah, they do. They do. But I got some good ones. I got some good corny dad jokes in my back pocket, if you didn't already know.
Wow.
You couldn't expect it.
Definitely didn't imagine you would be that way. No shot. Didn't expect that one out of you, Bill.
I'm embarrassed. All right, thanks, Ray. Anyway, we're talking Sixers. If you want to get in on the Sixers conversation about what happened, 2-12, another loss last night. Paul George hurt again. Joel Embiid played well, but then ruins it with his post-game comments to the media, playing the woe is me, the passive-aggressive attitude about what got leaked. I was only late 1 or 2 times, but of course it's going to get blown out of proportion because it's me, that whole thing. It's just, that's what's most shocking about this whole situation is that Joel still doesn't understand, still doesn't get this city, and still is immature. Like even before the season when he says, I'm not going to play any back-to-backs if I had to guess. And then comes out and says, oh, well, I'm a troll. Come on, man, you're too old for that now. You're supposed to be a leader on this team. You can't be a troll like that anymore. And then that factored in the coming to camp out of shape and then being late. It's just all of that does set a bad tone for the entire team. And I got to give Mike credit because I was on board with the load management. And Mike kept saying it's going to set a bad tone for the team. And I think he was right. Now they're sitting there 2-12.
Yeah, but I think you got to look at this 2 different paths. Load management versus not being ready opening night. I don't know if I equate the two.
Well, that's something we battled with Mike about because we both kept saying that is we're okay with load management, but that doesn't have to be game 1.
Right.
He should have come to camp in shape. He should have been ready, absent an injury. But we're not hearing anything about the knee. I'm not hearing that anything is coming out about the knee as being an excuse. So it does feel like he just came to camp out of shape, and because of that, didn't care and was late for things, and that's trickling throughout the team. Now the team's
even if he showed up in shape and they were like, "This is the way we're going to manage you," that's a whole other conversation where it's like the organization, "Hey man, what are we doing here?" Like
you're right.
And I'll be honest with you, him getting on the court to start the season didn't look necessarily like he was ready to go.
It did not. It did not look like he was ready to
So I give you that organization side of it just because I know that's another side of this conversation where we want to put everything on Embiid. Might not be Embiid. The organization might be telling, hey, man, it's good. October, and he's not fighting it.
Yeah, it's an epic failure across the board. But what's even more concerning now, I know we haven't seen the big three really together outside of 5 minutes yesterday. But what's really concerning is even if Joel Embiid gets back to the guy he was, even if Paul George is healthy, do you really have confidence that this team can compete with the Bostons of the world, the Knicks, the Cavs?
Can they put themselves in the position to do so? Like that's we talk about seeding not mattering, and to an extent. Like if we're talking about a team that's going to play in the play-in, and there's a chance you end up with the Celtics round one, yeah, you have to face them anyways. We'll get them at some point. You know, I'd like Chance to take over on this one. How do I know that something doesn't happen to the Celtics the first round of the playoffs and some knocks them out? You know, the year that the Heat go make that run, you know, Giannis got hurt. Like that was a part of that run. You know, that Bucks team was pretty solid. Like, I don't want to be the team that gets in the play, and we're talking about, like, if we get to the point in April, we're talking ourselves into, you know what? They had to play the Celtics anyways. Might as well as the 8th seed.
It's coming, Ray.
Yeah, I know.
We've already got that. We got that call yesterday. Somebody called in yesterday and says, well, you're going to have to play him anyway. Why not just play him in the first round?
And, you know, now with this Paul George, like, they get Maxey back a little bit sooner than I think we anticipated. And then Paul George last night. It's like, all right, are we now another 3 weeks away from seeing these three on the floor together again?
Probably.
Another 4, like,
probably.
I'm waiting until Christmas. And after Christmas, like, we're going to be in the new year. We're going to have seen what? A dozen minutes of them playing together?
Oh, it's frustrating, man.
So, like, that's the defeating feeling right now. Can they put themselves in a position to even compete? Like, pieces are aside. Like, even if you believe the most in this team right now, you sit there like, no. When they all get on the floor together, it's going to be great. The level to which it has to be great for me to feel like it's going to matter, and the razor-thin margin of error for this one, where Embiid has to be his healthy self and his dominant self basically throughout. Maxey has to come back from this hamstring and be back to the start he was last year. Paul George has to remember that he's a max player. Like, we're talking about very, very thin margins of error. And, oh, by the way, Nick Nurse has to figure out how to get this group rolling together, and right now they have very little answers. So sorry to paint such a bleak picture, but I don't necessarily have the positivity. I understand I was playing the piano on the Titanic there for a little bit.
Yes, you are.
The tune has changed quite a bit.
Well, your message isn't wrong, because Skip from North Philly wants to talk about the Sixers too. What's up, Skip? You're on the Fanatic.
What's up, fellas? See, the thing is, right now, the Celtics might be the outlier, but if you think about it, Bill and Ray, if you go back to the playoff last year, we were 10 to 14 points from Tobias helping us out to beating them, right? So now you say, okay, we bring in Paul George. We bring in Caleb Martin, who we've seen play well in the playoffs. You got Oubre. So now you can switch 2 through 4 with those three, right? So now I think the Knicks are easier to beat now because we know what Karl Anthony Towns is going to do. He's going to stand out there and shoot threes. But if these guys don't get on the floor and become a cohesive unit, you don't know what you got in the other 6 or 7 guys, like you were saying. You don't know what the big three is.
Yeah.
You get 6 minutes in the first game. So we know Caleb Martin's a bona fide role player. He's guarded Jason Tatum. He's guarded Jaylen Brown. You know Kelly Oubre stepped up in the playoffs. So when you add Paul George, you're saying to yourself, okay, now we can go head up with the Knicks. Now we can go head up with Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum with these three guys, and you think Embiid is what's going to pitch you over the top. But like you said, Maxey came back early, I think, to make a point once the meeting leaked to say, okay, I'm going to get out here to show we're a united front. But again, here we go with a guy, same thing. He steps the wrong way. Now he hyperextends the same knee. So we don't know what we got. And
yeah, that's exciting, Skip, but it's also scary because
exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Exactly. It's like fool's gold. We know we got something here, but do we really?
Yeah, Skip.
We're putting ourselves in a bad.
Yeah, Skip's trying to be positive, Ray, but he's right. Is it fool's gold or not? Because we don't know what this big three is going to look like. But if they don't do something soon, it's not even going to matter. Like, if they continue to lose games the way they're losing, we keep saying at 2-12. We said it at 2-11. We said it at 2-10. Oh, well, they can still get it there. They could still win enough games down the stretch to make the playoffs. But at what point is it, okay, maybe we do have to consider. Like, I thought the people saying they should tank a couple games ago were overreacting. At what point do we get to the point where it's...
Oh, stop.
You know what? Maybe we should give up. I'm not there yet, Ray. All right, but I promised everybody some positivity. So, there's nothing to be positive. Nothing to be positive about with the Sixers. There's nothing. I got nothing. Outside of Joel looked good on the court last night, they still lost. Yabusele looked good. Jared McCain looked good. That's it. They're a dumpster fire right now. So when we get back, I'm going to bring the positivity because we're going to turn our focus to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hell yeah.
And in a roundabout way, maybe it'll make you feel good about the Sixers. I'll explain when we get back. Down the home stretch of the Mike Missanelli show, but without Mike Missanelli. He had to dip out early for the last hour, so you get Bill Colarulo and Ray Dunn. Ray Dunn, who was considering a new look because me and Mike told him he should be.
Never once considered it.
Final results of the YouTube poll has come in. 51% say no, Ray. Keep the look. So you're good to go. I asked Silvana her opinion. She said she didn't have one, so that was good. I guess
as most people do that I work with.
most people don't
Most people looked at my hair and were like, yeah, okay, that's what he looks like.
But we got in a lot today. We got into Ray's haircut. We got into domed coffee lids are far superior to the flats.
And we've been very clear about our position. You and I are both pro-dome.
Yeah, of course, Mike's a flat coffee lid guy, which is a mess. But people are still checking in on YouTube about that.
People were texting in. I can't believe so many people were anti-dome.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. It's a far superior technology, the domed lid. But we spent a lot of time talking about the 76ers, not only today, but really over the last couple of weeks, because it's just been drama. But I want to switch over because all the negativity surrounding the 76ers, there is a team in this city that we should be positive about right now, and I think most people are. And that's the 8-2, first place in the NFC East, Philadelphia Eagles. And I was looking up something this morning, Ray, and I don't have it in front of me. Oh, yeah, here it is. In the NFL Football Power Index for your Eagles, right now, ESPN's Football Power Index gives them a 99.2% chance to make the playoffs, a 84% chance to win the division, only a 36% chance to make the conference finals, which I thought would be a little bit higher. The highest percentage in the NFC to make the conference championship. I say conference finals. Say I got Sixers on the brain. Although, conference finals for the Sixers, that's me daydreaming.
They might have the opposite percent chance of the Eagles' chance to make the playoffs. Was it 99.2%?
99.2%.
Right now, I think 0.8% is the way this fan base feels about the Sixers making the conference finals.
Yeah. But your Philadelphia Eagles have a 36% chance to make the NFC Championship game and a 17% chance to make the Super Bowl, 9% to win it. Thought those odds would be a little bit higher, but the good news is 99.2 to make the playoffs. So we're going to bring the positivity with the Philadelphia Eagles because I have been blown away. If you listen to this show, if you follow me, you know I was a proponent of bringing back Nick Sirianni. I'm not going to sing Sirianni love today. That's only on Mondays after wins. Sometimes Tuesdays when they play Monday night. Sometimes Fridays when they play Thursday night. But all they do is win, Ray, under Nick Sirianni, so we sing the song a lot. But I have been blown away by things that I never could have anticipated. I thought the team would be good. I thought that the offense would be good. I expected it to take a little bit of time with the new coordinator. But I never, in my wildest dreams about the Philadelphia Eagles coming into this season, expected the defense to be as good as they are. And to just put it into perspective for some people, last year, the Philadelphia Eagles defense was 26th in the NFL in yards allowed. They're number 1 right now. They were 30th in points allowed. They're 6th right now. They were 31st in passing yards allowed. They're number 2. And maybe just as impressively, they were 31st on third down. They're in the top 10 this year. They were 30th in red zone defense. They're top 5 this year. And I said before the break that I'm going to give you some positives about the Eagles that maybe can make you feel good about the Sixers. And this is a stretch. But when we look at the Sixers right now, we keep saying, if this happens, if that happens. Like, if Joel Embiid can be healthy, and if Paul George can be healthy, and if the big three can play together, and if the bench pieces were the right pieces, and if these role players are the right role players. Well, let's look at the Eagles right now. Because look at all of the questions that we did have specifically on the defensive side of the football coming into this season. And every single one of them has been answered in a positive. How's this defensive line going to survive without Hassan Reddick, without Fletcher Cox, with guys like Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat and 36-year-old Brandon Graham. Well, they're doing just fine right now because Jalen Carter has turned into the beast that all of us thought he was when they drafted him 2 years ago. Jordan Davis is playing very well. Milton Williams, who I've been a fan of, is playing really well. And they're getting enough from their edge rushers. I didn't love the Bryce Huff start to his Eagles career, but they're getting enough from that defensive line. And because they're getting enough from that defensive line, especially right there in the middle of the defense with Jalen Carter wreaking havoc, that now spills into the rest of your defense. It has that trickle effect. So what was one of the other major questions we had coming in? Linebackers. When Vic Fangio was asked about his starting linebackers, and the first name out of his mouth was Zach Bond, we all thought, what the hell is he talking about? And now you have a true defensive player of the year candidate in Zach Bond, and that is not an overstatement. He's been that good. Nakobe Dean looks like the guy we thought we were getting when he came out of Georgia a couple years ago. That alpha male that he was at Georgia in the middle of that Bulldog defense that was one of the best defenses we've ever seen in NCAA history. So when we look at all the if this happens for the Sixers, well, if the defensive line can be good enough, they have been. If the linebackers can be good enough, not only have they been good enough, they've been outstanding. And then you look at that secondary. A secondary that last year looked terrible down the stretch with guys like James Bradbury and Avonte Maddox, who are both still on the team, by the way. I think people forget we still have James Bradbury on this damn roster. But look at that defensive secondary now. You've replaced James Bradbury with Quinyon Mitchell, who should be Defensive Rookie of the Year. You've replaced Avonte Maddox and Bradley Roby with Cooper DeJean. You've taken Kevin Byard and before him Terrell Edmonds, and you replaced him with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and you've seen Reed Blankenship step up. There is so much to like about this defense right now. So I don't want us to get lost in all the negativity surrounding the Sixers and all the drama surrounding the Sixers that we don't give this Philadelphia Eagles team the time and credit that they deserve right now, because this defense is unbelievable. I just told you all the numbers of where they are compared to last year. Just look at where they are since the bye. Since they got ran all over and thrown all over against the Tampa Bay Bucks before the bye, their 6-game winning streak, number 1 in yards against, number 1 in points against, number 1 in passing yards against, number 1 in rushing yards against. When I said that Joel Embiid still doesn't understand this city, he still doesn't get this city, well, if you've lived here for even a couple of years, you know what this city loves more than anything is a good defense. Yeah, everybody loves offense. Everybody loves when the team scores touchdowns. Everyone loves when you have those big plays, those big explosive plays. But what we love more than anything in Philadelphia, it's like in our DNA, is a tough, hard-nosed defense that shuts other teams down, and that's what you have right now. We were all hopeful coming in that this Eagles defense would just simply get into the middle of the pack. I remember having conversations this summer that if they could just get to 15th instead of being 30th, if they could just get to 15th, man, I think we got a shot with how good this offense is. They're number 1. They are number 1 in the NFL in yards against. It's unbelievable what you're seeing with this defense. And the old cliche, defense wins championships. When you have an offense, I know they've come out slow. I know we want to see them put up points in the first quarter. But when you have an offense that has all the weapons that this Eagles team has, and now you have a defense as good as they have been playing over the last 6 weeks, that's why I've been saying it. I've been telling you for a couple of weeks that this team is a true Super Bowl contender. And now people are starting to come around on it. Don't allow what happened last year to creep into your head. Ray, Nick Sirianni was actually asked about this yesterday. He was asked about, well, what's the difference between this season and last season? Because last season they were 10-1. Didn't feel like it. But this team's 8-2. And there are people out there who let what happened last season, the collapse of last season, creep into their brain. Sirianni was asked about it. Here's what he had to say.
But I really feel like this team continues to – I just think we got some really good teammates and coaches that are just – everyone's, just so locked into becoming better. And I do feel like that everyone's locked into becoming better. And I think I felt that way last year, too, don't get me wrong. So, we had it didn't work. There was things that happened last year that we feel like we've – corrected, that we're on the right track and try not to focus. We've made those corrections already to last year, and so we're trying you don't focus too much on that. You just work on what you can try to build each day. But I really feel like this team continues to grow closer each day. We got great teammates, we got great leaders. Winning is contagious, and so you build on that success that you've had. But I think the other thing I see is just the hunger of everyone, to get better. And that's all I can point out from this year's team. Forget last year's team. We've learned from those mistakes that we've made from last year. Myself, the team, everybody. I really noticed this year's team that we're getting closer as a football team and just have that hunger to get better each day.
So that was Nick Sirianni when he was asked about the differences between this year and last year. But you don't even have to be a football coach. You don't have to be an X and O's guy and dive deep into the differences between this year's team and last year's team. You could just see it. You could just feel it. Because last season when they were 10-1, all the chatter was, why does this team look like they're not having fun? You remember that. Right, you remember that. It was everywhere. Oh, it doesn't look like they're having fun. They're 10-1. Doesn't look like they're having fun. One, I don't think they were having fun. Because I do think the Super Bowl hangover, where you look at every single game and every single play through the lens of, are we good enough to win the Super Bowl? It makes it very difficult to enjoy the wins because you're so focused on just getting back to the Super Bowl after you've lost it. You don't have that feeling this year. And I'm getting vibes from this team like you did in 2017. The fun that this team is having. The celebrations that they're showing post-game. The celebrations when the defenses are getting turnovers. The offense. There is a new life that has been breathed? Breathed? What's the word I'm looking for, Ray? New life breathed? What's the word I'm looking for?
New life.
Infused?
Yeah, let's go with infused. Infused is a good choice.
But there's been a new life infused into this team, and I think a lot of that is because of some of the new pieces. You don't have the Super Bowl hangover. You got guys like Saquon who weren't here. You got these rookies, Quinyon and Cooper DeJean contributing. It just feels like when you look at this team compared to what it looked like last year, it's completely different. And we're going to break it all down tomorrow. We got a Football Friday coming up because Quinyon Mitchell, who's in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year, isn't the only candidate you're going to see on the field because Jared Verse, who's an edge rusher for the Los Angeles Rams, is the front runner right now to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. But we'll break it all down tomorrow on a Football Friday. But before we get out of here, it's time for Closing Argument.
Now, Closing Arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenthalAbrams.com.
All right, here's my closing argument for today. Because we spent a lot of time talking about Joel Embiid and his comments last night after the game. And this is a message to Joel Embiid. Understand where you are, Joel. Understand what this city is. Understand this fan base. Yes, we get the negative rep of being a tough place to play. The Philadelphia fans get that national rep of being brutal fans. But when you're here, when you grew up here, when you've lived here, when you've played here long enough, and you truly understand the Philadelphia fan, it's not a tough place to play. They're not brutal fans. What they are a blue-collar town, a blue-collar fan base that just wants you to give it your all, to leave it all on the court and not make excuses and not be passive-aggressive and not deflect and troll and show immaturity. All the fan base asks is for you to give it your all because that's what they give you. These Sixers fans have been put through a lot over the years. A lot between the process years, between all the misses in the draft and free agency. They've earned the right to watch a team that cares. And when you don't show up in shape for camp, and then we hear that you're showing up late for everything, this is how the fans are going to react. So don't hit us with the, I don't understand why negativity follows me. Just be better. I'm hoping that the Sixers talk is over. Tomorrow's going to be a football Friday. Appreciate everyone who was here today. Mike will be back for the full show tomorrow. Obviously, you'll have me. You'll have Ray Dunn. But thanks to everybody for listening. Thanks for everybody in our YouTube chat, all the callers, the texters. We love you all. Talk to you tomorrow.